It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent located downtown Midland. There's a ton of different players that you can credit for this incredible Tigers 2025 season so far. We're nearly halfway through the MLB regular season, and they still hold the best record in all the major leagues. And a big reason why is you got major contributions from unexpected players this season, like a Zach McKinstry turning to a bench utility guy to an everyday guy in the lineup. Javy Baez moved out into the outfield a little bit. He is much improved from the last couple seasons in Detroit. Some guys in the pitching staff as well have taken unexpected leaps this year. But what if the guy that has really taken this unexpected leap is just now starting and is going to be the second half hero for the Tigers? And that's Wenceel Perez. An incredible game last night, a triple, a homer. He's done it on both sides of the plate since returning from the injured list and has once again given the Tigers a major piece of depth going forward in the outfield. There's no other bat like him in this Tigers lineup. The lone switch hitter on the entire roster, adds value on the base pads with his speed, and makes things easier with Matt Vierling still not back from injury, and Kerry Carpenter can continue to be the designated hitter with Perez playing out and right. So there's a lot of good candidates for the first half hero for the Tigers, but what if the second half hero is breaking out right in front of our eyes in Wenceel Perez? Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Bel Air Brown, Dragon's Milk, Mad Hatter, Purple Gang, and Huma Loopalicious. These are names that let the imagination run wild and let the taste buds take a stroll. Welcome to the craft beer craze in Michigan. Bolstered by the Great Lakes and nurtured by the glacier-rich soil, here awaits a brewer's paradise. With fresh hops growing tall in the Old Mission Peninsula and fresh barley fields sweeping the mitten, Michigan ranks 5th in the nation in the number of breweries, microbreweries, and brew pubs. From Good Harbor Golden to Whitefish Bay Wheat. From Motown Lager all the way to Park Bench Porter, Michigan is serving up a frosty glass of perfection. Whether you want to take in a game with a two-hearted ale or just sit on a front porch sipping a Steelhead Red, let's tap into life at its fullest and treat ourselves to a taste that's pure Michigan. Your trip begins at Michigan.org.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. Appointment radio across the state.
Remember that. Hello. Good morning and welcome into the Ben Bosscher Show. Happy Wednesday, everyone. We're coming at you live from Midland, Michigan. So shout out to everyone in the Great Lakes Bay region listening on 100.9 The Mitt. We've got our live streams going on YouTube and Facebook as well, as we always do. Subscribe there if you haven't already. Kyle Sandell's producing for us behind the glass. We've got a lot to get to today. NHL Stanley Cup wrapped up last night. I want to have a conversation about that and specifically focused around Mr. McDavid a little bit later on in the 9 o'clock hour. We've got it around the league coming up. We've got another trade deadline candidate for the Tigers in the 10 o'clock hour. But we're going to start with the game yesterday. The Tigers end up just decimating this. Woohoo! Right. They end up, really taking it to their opponents last night. The Tigers end up on top of the Pittsburgh Pirates, 7-3 the final. A little bit back and forth early on in the game. I wanted to talk about Javy Baez versus Javeer Baze and the difference between those two players. But before we do that, first of all, we've been talking about Casey Mize here for a couple of weeks, whether or not he was going to be able to bounce back yesterday. I thought he did a good job of bouncing back. Now, was it the stellar performance from Casey Mize to where he looked like the version of himself that he did in the first 8 games of the season? No, not necessarily, but he certainly looked like a better version of himself than he had the previous 3 starts where he had really struggled. Yesterday, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 0 walks. That's the big thing. 4 strikeouts, and then 2 earned runs. Ended up giving up 3 runs, but one of those was credited to Javy Baez. Well, I guess it wasn't credited to him, but an error in the infield ended up scoring that run. Riley Green just continues to have the best year of his career, really. 168 hits, that's what he's on pace for. That's his career high, or at least it would be. 37 doubles, that's what he's on pace for. That'd be a career high. He's also pacing for 32 home runs. Yesterday, crushed the furthest hit ball he's had all season at 436, right to right field. Just destroyed this thing, sent it to the moon. So good stuff from Riley Green there. Wenzel Perez is the guy who's really popping off the screen right now, Kyle. He is OPSing 1,500 plus against left-handed pitching. Against right-handed pitching, 925. The only switch hitter on the team seems to have taken a pretty big step up in his 18 games so far this season compared to what he was last year. This fun person you can put anywhere in the infield, bring some surprise with his bat, had that awesome start to his career in the big leagues. This year, it's taken this whole new step, and it's like, no, I'm a problem now. You have to pitch around me, and not only am I going to do it against the lefties, but I'm going to do it from the righties, or against the righties on both sides of the plate. There's power involved. He had a triple and a home run yesterday. There's speed involved. He's kind of doing a little bit of everything, and I heard you remember that. You kind of mentioned maybe this is the guy who jumps out in the second half of the Tigers season. He's jumping off the screen right now as one of these important guys, just another unexpected guy stepping up for the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think Wenzel Perez is my favorite part of this season right now. Probably recency bias, because Zach McKinstry and Javy Baez, these guys that you didn't think were going to be good, have been good. But man, Perez is so much fun. Just the fact that he's doing it on both sides. Last year, obviously, was a switch hitter, but much better from the left side of the plate. Him being that right bat this year, what'd you say, 1,500 OPS against left-handed pitching?
1,552 after last night.
It's unreal. Has a homer from each side of the plate already. Really has been so much fun and makes it a lot easier with Veerling still out, right? To figure out what spot is out in right field.
How about that defensive play in right field yesterday from him, though? Comes in sliding. He takes a pretty big risk, doesn't end up getting the out, but slides and hits it off of one bounce or gets it in his glove off of one bounce.
Right.
If he doesn't get that ball's going to the corner, and it's most likely a triple, if not something even crazier. But he ends up making the play. It turns into just a single. So he's just doing incredible stuff time in and time out right now. And again, it's only 18 games, but I think it's pretty apparent he's a lot better than he was last season. And let's be honest, when he got called up last season, I don't think anyone expected him to jump off the screen the way that he did. Well, he was an impact player right from the beginning, but you're cautious about it. Because so was Akil Baddoo when he got to the majors.
Right, we didn't even know if he was going to make the roster initially this season. Obviously, he wasn't healthy, but even if he was, it was that depth problem that the Tigers have made it. Maybe he won't make the roster.
And now he's playing so well where he's put Veerling in a situation where it's like, I don't know what your role is when you come back, because odds are you're not doing what Wenzel Perez is doing right now. So he's quickly become, I think, a lot of people's, I don't know about favorite Tiger, but someone who's definitely caused a little bit of spark to the lineup. The other person I want to give a quick shout out to is Dylan Dingler. Because, my goodness, man.
Absolute laser.
The throwout he had, and this is where Javy Baez is really at his best. It's so hard to be good at this specific trait, but being on the receiving end of a throwout to second base on a stolen bag. Javy's so good at getting his glove in the right spot, and the connection between Dylan Dingler and Javy Baez, I have a real hard time believing anyone's stealing bases against those two, unless you are at the top percentile of the best stolen base, like the Bobby Witts, that the Ellie De La Cruz is like, yes, those guys are going to be able to steal bags. Anyone else, good luck. Casey Mize throws a low ball, not necessarily in the dirt, but it was about as close to being in the dirt as it can be without actually going in the dirt. Dingler pops right up and throws a laser right to the bottom of second base. Javy Baez just puts his mitt out and tags out the run. Like, Dylan Dingler has turned himself into such a weapon to where I didn't think Jake Rogers was going to be losing that spot anytime soon because he had a little bit of power, even though the average was typically below the Mendoza line. Great frame rate, stuff like that. The stuff that Dylan Dingler pops up with behind the dish with all these advanced numbers that you can grade out a catcher defensively, it's all at the top of the league. And then you take into consideration the bat as well and the spark he's provided on offense. This guy has like quickly turned himself into maybe not one of the more famous in like in terms of like just recognition. He's not there yet with catchers, but just based on the numbers this season, it's like he's having one of the best seasons behind the dish of anybody in the American League and the National League for that matter.
He's having the best Tigers catcher season since that 11 Alex Avila season. I mean, that's a pretty long time. So, yeah, I think Jake Rogers is still the better overall defensive catcher, but he's just a tremendous defensive catcher. But, man, the gun that Dingler has, I mean, it was shown after he threw that base runner out. O'Neal Cruz, who leads all of major leagues in stolen bases, got on first base 2 times after that. Didn't even attempt to steal.
No, it's just not worth it. But when you got Dingler behind the dish, and we talked about whether or not Dingler was going to be an all-star, and I told you, hey, he's got one of the fastest throw at times there are. And you were like, that doesn't count for all-star stuff. That's the kind of reason it does, though. But the stuff last night is the reason it's like, that kind of puts your jaw on the floor in terms of, he's like, I don't know if there's any other catcher that's getting the base runner out yesterday with how bad of a pitch that was from Casey Mize. He gunned him down at second.
For sure. Yeah, that pitch should have never been, like, that should have been a stolen base 99 out of 100 times.
There's probably a lot of catchers that don't even attempt to make the throw. It was that bad of a pitch, and they know they're probably not getting it. Dingler pops up and just throws a laser beam down to second base.
Currently the third place vote getter amongst American League catchers. So,
Tigers fans, keep voting. Keep voting. Try to get your guys into the All-Star game. So, I think the real story of yesterday, not Riley Green, not Wenzel Perez, not Dylan Dingler, not even Casey Mize. I think the story is Javy Baez. Or should I say Javeer Baze? Because I think these are 2 separate players, right? Javeer Baze showed up for the first 3 at-bats yesterday. Didn't swing at a single first pitch. This is the guy that hit the 2 home runs against the Red Sox. This is the guy who's shown up time and time again when it matters. A single and 2 home runs yesterday for Javeer Baze. Javy Baez showed up once again in the 8th inning. 3-pitch at-bat, strikeout, chased on the first pitch. He showed up defensively, too, with that error. There's just some moments where Javy Baez regresses back to what he had looked like in the past 3 seasons, when it was league worst OPS. Not only league worst OPS, but like historically bad stuff. Striking out, the chase rate was disastrous. That's Javy Baez. And that, for the most part, is the guy that the Tigers have gotten since they signed him to this ridiculous contract. Javeer Baez is the one who has showed up this season. And so far in June, it's been mostly Javeer Baze.
Oh, that's my boy right there. That's Javeer Baze.
340 average, 937 OPS in the 18 days we've had so far in June. But I started to ask myself, which version of Javy Baez, Javeer Baze or Javy Baez, do I really think is going to show up when it counts? Because, was it Monday that we had the conversation? Maybe it was last week. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, bases loaded, Game 7 of the World Series, 3-2 count. Who do you trust? And I said Riley Green. Kyle said Gleyber Torres. And I just kind of put Javy Baez into that situation, like black or white, yes or no, do you trust him? Which version of Javy do you think you'd get in that scenario, Javeer Baze or Javy Baez? And the more I thought about it, the crazier I began to sound to myself. Because I mentioned this yesterday when we were talking about Kerry Carpenter, because he has struggled so much with runners in scoring position this season, because he is attempting to just hit a home run every time, and it's led to a lot of strikeouts, almost no walks, very low batting average, no power. Javy Baez has actually been the opposite in his tenure with the Tigers. This is his 4th season in Detroit. Here are his batting averages with runners in scoring position starting in 2022. 296, 312, 308, and this year with runners in scoring position, Javeer Baez is batting 327. Javy Baez or Javy Baez, which one of these guys is going to show up when it actually matters in October, when you actually have a game on the line and something tangible at the palm of your hands? I honestly think it's Javeer Baez. As crazy as I sound, and if you would have told me I would have said that a year ago or a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, I would have thought I was kidnapped and being forced against my will to say something like that, because this is a guy I did not want on this Tigers team for the last couple of seasons. But you look at these numbers when there's guys in a position to score, and Javy Baez doesn't think, let's just hit this ball to the moon. Let's just hit the ball on the barrel, find a gap, and score some runs. Again, it's 296, 312, 308, 327. These are the batting averages year by year as a Tiger in those circumstances. When he sees an opportunity to help the team, he takes it rather than just being selfish and trying to hit a bomb. Because that's where we've seen Javy struggle, especially when the bases have been empty the past couple of years. That's not the case. That's not Javy Baez that's coming through clutch. That's Javeer Baze. That's kind of the bit that we've gone with here. Thank you, Michael Key, from the beginning of the season. So there's two versions of the same player, Javeer Baze, Javy Baez. Which one of these guys do you think is going to show up when it matters the most? 989-837-6125. I honestly think it's Javeer Baze. Call me crazy. Tell me I'm wrong. You guys can text in or leave a comment in the YouTube section. We'll get to those here in just a second. Stay secure, stay connected, and stay ahead with Linked Technologies, your local IT experts in Midland. From small businesses to large operations, they provide custom tech solutions that actually make your life easier. Specializing in networking, cybersecurity, cloud services, and managed IT support all under one roof. Fast, reliable service with people who speak your language. Whether you're upgrading, protecting, or troubleshooting, Linked Technologies keeps your systems running smooth. Visit linkedtechsolutions.com and see how they can help your business work smarter and not harder. We'll get to some of your texts and the Javeer Baze conversation coming up next. We've also got a little conversation to do with the best players in sports without a ring, thanks to Connor McDavid not getting it done yesterday. It's all coming up. Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Detours driving you bonkers? Ideal Party Store's got your back with the Detour discount. While the Lafayette Bridge is closed, enjoy 10% off select craft beer 6-packs and 10% off 4 bottles of select wine, 750 milliliters or more, with 2 great locations, 908 North Johnson on the east side and 401 Salzburg on the west side. Ideal Party Store makes every detour worth it. Serving Bay City since 1934, we're here to make you the life of the party.
At First Class Epoxy Floor and Counter, floors don't just get coated, they get a makeover. Epoxy's so tough, it shrugs off spills, stains, and even your wildest dance moves. Garages, workshops, anywhere you want a floor that's smooth, shiny, and just a little bit sassy, they handle it all with style. No more boring floors. Get ready to impress everyone who walks through the door. Slide into durability and flair. First Class Epoxy Floor and Counter, where your floors get the VIP treatment they didn't know they needed.
Now, wait a second, Sharon. So the Midland Area Community Foundation runs the Midland Area Santa House?
You bet we do.
And Midland Area River Days?
Absolutely.
Plus scholarships for students and grants for local nonprofits? That's like hitting the cycle and impacting our community.
Anyone can step up to the plate and help build community capital for as little as $5.
$5? That's the cost of a snack at the ballpark. How do I get in the game?
Just visit midlandfoundation.org and make a gift to our community investment fund. Every dollar makes a difference.
Join the team. Give today at midlandfoundation.org.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the local job market. We're here in person. And we're locally owned, so you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion. Visit us online at Spherion.com to find your local Spherion office. Let's get to work.
This summer, the fun is back and it's bigger than ever. The Moody Foundation invites you to Bouncin' Bites, a free, family-friendly event series happening every month in Midland. We're talking about bounce houses, food trucks, live music, and good vibes, all for a great cause. Every dollar we raise helps local kids afford sports, music, art, and more. Join us all summer long. Check out the full schedule at bouncinbites.com. The word bounce, the letter N, the word bites.com. The Moody Foundation, building community one bounce at a time.
Calling all royalty. Join the Great Lakes Loons for Princess Night, presented by High Country Jumpers. Saturday, June 21st. The Loons will take the field in magical Moana-inspired jerseys. Stick around after the game for a dazzling fireworks loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. It's a night fit for the whole family. Tickets are selling fast. Visit loons.com before they're gone. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Javeer Baez, Javy Baez, which one of these guys do you trust more in the clutch? Well, that's not really the question. The answer to that is obviously Javeer Baez. Like, that's the guy who comes through time and time again. That's the guy who, when runners are in scoring position, has actually dominated in his tenure with the Tigers. That's the guy who hit 2 home runs yesterday, 3 hits. That's the guy who hit the 2 home runs in the walk-off against Boston. Javy Baez is the one who has struggled over the past couple of seasons. But when push comes to shove, in October, when there's actually things on the line, which one of these players is going to come through? I think it's Javeer Baez, honestly. And the numbers with runners in scoring position over the last 4 years, I think, back that up. When he's got an opportunity to help the team, try to punch some runs in, he stops trying to swing for the fences and just tries to put barrel to bat. And we've seen him really shift to that this season. In June, he's just been crushing everybody. 340 average, 937 OPS. Still not really walking. Like, I guess that's never really going to be Javy Baez, and that's totally okay as long as he's putting balls in the gap. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. I think I've earned his trust he's earned my trust, as crazy as that sounds, Kyle. I think I trust this guy.
Yeah, it does sound crazy. I hate to say that because of the big game that he had last night, and also a shout out to him for his 10-year anniversary of service time last night. Perfect time to hit 2 bombs, so that was really cool. But at the end of the day, like, as fun as Javeer Baez is, we get Javy Baez much more than we get Javeer Baez. And obviously that was the case the last 2 seasons, but even this year, you talked about the 2 home run game against Boston, and the runners in scoring position part is very important, especially for specifically what you're talking about with game on the line, runners in scoring position. Yeah, he's been good. But from May 14th of this year, which was the day after the 2 home run game against Boston, to June 15th, the day before last night, or the game before last night, just a 602 OPS, 227 batting average, 17 Ks to 3 walks, like a month-long stretch of Javy Baez. But then at the start and end of that, we get the 2 games of Javeer Baez, which are spectacular. 4 home runs. You had 2 home runs in a month stretch before that. So, I don't know. I like to look at the evidence of who we get more frequently, and that's obviously the old version of Javy Baez that we don't necessarily love as much.
Well, we even saw that old version of Javy Baez come through at the end of the game yesterday, because you and I
at
were...
the beginning of the game, with the error.
And with the error. You and I were talking, because we were both here for the Loons game, and we're like, hey, 3 home runs for Javy Baez? Could it happen today? Could it be the second Tiger to do that this season? And then he goes up for that at-bat, the first, back-to-back home runs, and he comes up for the 4th time in the 8th inning. Swing miss. Chases a pitch, foul ball, strikeout on the 3rd pitch. It's like, all right, you were having a great game. You still had a great game, let's be honest.
You'll take that with the 2 home runs.
Yes, you'll take it, but it's just like, those are the extremes, right? Sometimes you get 3 pitch at-bats, all 3 strikes. Sometimes you get the home runs and the theatrics and the dazzling plays at shortstop. And other times you get the plays at shortstop that just make you scratch your head a little bit. Because yesterday it wasn't even like a tough play to make. It was just a total brain fart on behalf of Javy Baez.
Right. And it cost him a run. Now, he obviously made up for it offensively and defensively.
Yep.
But the old, Javy Baez doesn't make up for it.
No, absolutely not. And the fact that they're getting both of these versions of Javy, like, you'll take that for what it has been the last couple of seasons. But I don't know, man, like, the way that he's come through a few different times now on the season. I struggle to think that if there was a situation where the game was on the line and he's at the plate, when things actually mattered, I really don't think you're getting the version that's just 3 pitches. Like, who's more likely to strike out with a game clutch, like game-winning situation? Javy Baez or Riley Green?
Javy Baez.
Really?
I understand that the numbers may not support that, but I don't think a single Tigers fan, maybe other than you, would choose to have Javy Baez in that spot over Riley Green.
I'm not saying I would choose to. I would rather have Riley Green in that situation, to be clear. But I think there is an element of when Javy Baez has a chance to help the team, he usually comes through. When he doesn't, he's just going to do stupid Javy Baez stuff. And that's been the case for the last 4 seasons. 989-837-6125. Got one text coming in that says, Dingler, catcher, has catcher all-star numbers. You gave up on El Mago, Ben, but his struggles, through his struggles, but now he has 9 home runs with the .290 average. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Dwayne.
I think everyone gave up on El Mago, so
yes.
Not really a diss at you.
I'll take it, though. All right, let's hit the news.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
All right, you mentioned it earlier. The big news, Stanley Cup Finals are wrapped up. Panthers back-to-back champs, winning in 6. Over the Oilers, Sam Bennett wins the Conn Smythe Trophy for playoff MVP.
Hey, at least the Conn Smythe Trophy didn't go to the team that a player on the team that lost this season. I still don't really understand why they do that in hockey.
Well, it's the playoff MVP. It's not the finals MVP.
That's true.
Think about in 2018, LeBron wins the playoff MVP.
But it's not a playoff MVP in the NBA. It's the
That's
NBA
what I'm saying.
Finals
If
MVP.
there was one, he wins it. They got swept. It didn't matter.
I think it should just be the Stanley Cup Finals MVP, though. I guess that's more so the point I'm trying to make. But yeah, I mean, we talked about it.
You're probably right.
Florida had separated themselves a little bit, I thought, over the last 3 games. And that defense, man, it's just too big, too physical, too fast, too strong for any team in the league to stop. So congrats to the Panthers.
Really don't know if the Oilers are going to have another shot at this one. They're talking like this was McDavid's really last chance with the cap situation and everything going on in Edmonton. So
yeah, because now they're going to have to pay Draisaitl. His big extension kicks in, and McDavid, so things are going to get a lot tougher.
We'll see if he ends up getting one at some point. NBA side of things, no game tonight. It's tomorrow night. But we did find out that Tyrese Halliburton confirmed does have a calf strain, and he's going under an MRI to determine the severity of the strain. I still feel like there's no way he misses Game 6.
He's hobbled.
But who knows? These
over.
calf injuries are really, I mean, they're more serious than people realize.
Yeah, because the calf injuries lead to the Achilles injuries. Whether or not he's playing, I don't know if it matters. I think the Thunder, I think it's done. If Tyrese Halliburton's now 100%, the Pacers have no shot.
Absolutely. I think it's also done still. And he's not going to be 100% healthy either way, so doesn't really matter. All right, tonight, somehow we have failed to mention it so far. It's Scooble Bump Day.
Yep.
Tigers, Pirates, 640. Scooble versus Andrew Heaney, who's been pretty good for the Pirates. Another lefty starting for Pittsburgh.
I was scrolling through generic sportsbook to try to find a lock of the day for this game. I didn't end up going with anything with this game. Do you guess what his over-under and strikeouts are today? Scooble.
Scoob?
Yeah.
7.5?
8.5.
Man, that's crazy.
You don't get plus odds until you bet 9.
So 10 Ks is like plus 150?
Yeah, something
that's
like
terrible value.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, man. This guy's on a different planet.
Hopefully the Tigers, this is a strategy, putting Scooble in Game 2. 5 straight Game 2 losses for the Tigers.
They haven't swept anyone in a minute.
Not since the Giants series.
They always have a stinker in there.
But they've lost Game 2, 5 straight series.
Keep hitting the mic, my bad.
So Scooble getting Game 2, they're trying to break that streak today. They'll save the loss for Game 3 against Skeens, you know?
Probably. Probably.
Your boy. More Tigers news. Will Vest avoiding an injured list stint. Just a scare with that wild pitch that happened on Sunday. This is really big news because you and I and most Tigers fans feared the worst when we saw this immediately on Sunday. but he's going to be all good.
I feel like we had every right to fear the worst because, A, the bullpen is not very good outside of him and Canely, so him missing time would have been pretty detrimental. But A.J. Hinch seemed like worried about that the day it happened on Sunday. So the fact that everything came back positive and he's going to avoid IL, huge sigh of relief for every Tigers fan out there. I still think they need to add another arm from the bullpen or to the bullpen at the deadline, but we've got another month and 2 weeks for that. So
anytime a guy like waves to the dugout, yo, come get me, you know something's up. So I think we had every right to be worried about
especially after a wild pitch that was so wild that Dylan Jingler had no chance of stopping it.
The Pacers made an in-finals trade yesterday. Man, what is going on in the NBA? Wasn't that big of a deal, though. They're trading the 23rd pick in the draft, plus the rights to a G Leaguer, to the Pelicans for their 2026 first-round pick back. They're just doing this to save some money so they don't have to pay the contract to a first-round rookie, because they got to bring back Miles Turner this offseason.
Yeah. He was someone that throughout the playoffs, they basically are becoming forced to pay this guy with how important he was.
And they said they're going
to the playoffs. Yeah, with what he does defensively, I mean they hunt him a little bit, but he's still a good rim protector. But it's the offense that, like, you don't see a lot of. I don't know if he's quite a 7-footer. If not, he's like 6'11". The step back threes. There's not a lot of bigs that can catch it in the short roll and pull up as fast as he can, and he's automatic from that spot. So yeah, he's been pretty essential. Someone I would have liked the Pistons to try to go get.
Yeah.
But if the Pacers are going to lock him back up, then probably not.
He's a
happening.
30-plus M's a year type of guy at this point, which is a high price to pay. Pacers are also going to have to dip into the luxury tax to bring him back, so we'll see how that goes for them.
The first salary cap.
Yes. Big news. Noah Lyles v. Tyreek Hill race canceled. Oh my gosh. Noah Lyles cancels it due to personal reasons. Man, what do you got going on?
You can't set up a race.
He was
and then
talking all
cancel
that
it.
talk.
You can't do it. You can't do it. Bad look on behalf of Noah Lyles. And I like Noah Lyles, man. That stuff he said about the NBA a few years back was some of the stupidest stuff anyone's ever said, but he was probably 18 when he said that.
People loved that, though. People were really loving those comments he made.
Pot stirring comments. What do you mean? You're talking about the World Championship comments?
Yes.
I don't really want to revisit
were,
that because it's so long ago at this point. But everything from beyond that, I love the swagger that he does his sport with, man.
I'm not a big Noah Lyles guy. I won't lie.
Any reason behind that?
All day. I'm not a big Tyreek guy either. I don't know many people are, but
I don't know if I would have been rooting for one person. I think I just would have wanted it to be close, and I would have wanted Gibbs to be in this race as well, and J-Mo.
That's fair. All right, last thing. Speaking for the first time since last year's playoff loss, Lamar Jackson says he still hasn't gotten over their loss to the Bills, and says the Ravens will come back with vengeance this year.
Okay. You're still going to have to run into... They could go 18-0, 17-0. You're still going to have to run into Mahomes and Allen, man. You know what? While we're on the topic of Lamar Jackson, that actually segues perfectly into what I want to talk about next. Connor McDavid failed to win a ring last night. And we can sit here and celebrate the Panthers. I don't really want to do that. I want to know who the best athlete is in professional sports right now that does not have a ring. I'll give you 4 candidates when we come back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Loons back at Dow Diamond for back-to-back weeks, starting a 6-game set with Peoria this week. Finishing up the first half of the season before the second half starts on Friday. And last night, an offensive battle, game going back and forth with the Loons getting on the board first, Peoria leading the way throughout the middle part of the game. But in the bottom of the 8th inning, it was Carlos Rojas who drove in 2 runs to put Great Lakes back on top.
The 1-1. Rojas swings, chopper up the middle. That will sneak through. Nevin scores. Vetrano hits third. Honeyman will scoop, but no throw to make. Right up the gut. And Rojas puts 2 on the board. Great Lakes takes the lead. Here in the 8th, it's 8-7.
Cam Day would close things out in the 9th as the Loons defeated the Chiefs 8-7 in Game 1 of this 6-game set. Game 2 right back here at Dow Diamond, 7:05 first pitch tonight. Pre-game coverage starting at 6:50, 100.9 The Mitt.
At Sandy Ridge, our completely renovated clubhouse is ready for you. With a brand new full kitchen, a spacious deck, and plenty of room for any event, it's the perfect spot for weddings, parties, or any special gathering. And that's not all. Our whole 16 green has been redesigned and is better than ever. Plus, our greens are the truest around, on par with the top courses, but at a price that fits your budget. Come visit us today at Sandy Ridge and see why we're the perfect choice for your next event.
From making athletic footwear stronger and lighter to powering the future of electric racing vehicles, material science and R&D are the MVPs of innovation. At Dow, we collaborate with customers and partners to tackle a wide range of sports product challenges with cutting-edge advancements in technology. Dow's innovations can help to improve performance and sustainability throughout the world of sports. Dow, at the intersection of sports and science.
A beautiful yard increases both the value of your home and the quality of your life. Commercially, landscaping creates a positive impression of your professionalism and commitment to community, customers, and employees. Cervinsky Sod has been creating and maintaining outdoor spaces for 56 years. Whether your project is residential or commercial, the team at Cervinsky Sod Services will work with you to build and meet budgets and finish the job with top quality and in a timely manner. To get a quote, call 989-835-4810 or visit CervinskySodService.com.
When the summer heat is on, keep your cool with Answer Heating and Cooling. Our expert team specializes in fast, reliable air conditioning repairs, installations, and maintenance. Stay comfortable all season long with top-notch cooling solutions and simply outstanding service. Plus, with financing options and special rebates, cooling your home has never been more affordable. Answer Heating and Cooling, where comfort is our priority. Try our new schedule online option or call us today.
Mountain View Restaurant at Apple Mountain, where casual elegance meets breathtaking views. Our new expanded menu features a wide variety of dishes to satisfy every palate, from fresh seasonal options to your all-time favorites. Whether you're hosting a client lunch, enjoying happy hour, or planning a date night, we have the perfect setting for every occasion. Don't miss our weekly features and refreshing beverages. In the summer, dine al fresco on our beautiful patio and soak in the scenery. Mountain View, where great food meets spectacular views.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back in. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I forgot to mention, it is Big Win Wednesday, which means we're giving some stuff away, as we do every Wednesday. Today, we're giving away $100 worth of gas cards. Thanks to our friends at the Forward Corporation, and thanks to our friends at Garber Chevrolet for making it possible every Wednesday here on the Ben Bosscher Show. Again, later on in the show, about 10:30, we're going to give away the keyword. You got to text in to 989-837-6125. Chance to win $100 worth of gas cards. That's coming up a little bit later on in the show. But, Kyle, we're in the middle of, well, I guess no longer in the middle of the NBA and NHL Finals, because the NHL Finals wrap up yesterday. And my mind immediately goes to Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid, back-to-back years, makes the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. And back-to-back years, the Florida Panthers take that first ring away from him. The thing is, in hockey, you need a ring, man. Rings do define legacies in that sport. I don't know if you can say the same about baseball players and football players. It's unless you're a quarterback, not as much. A little bit, but not as much. All the best hockey players of all time have a ring. And McDavid is now, by far, not even close, the best player in the history of the NHL that does not have a ring. Is he the best player in sports right now without a championship of the four majors? Football, basketball, hockey, and baseball. Because we've got some options. We've floated this idea back a couple times, whether it's McDavid or Aaron Judge. I'd like to throw out two other candidates as well, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, because we haven't done this on the Ben Bosscher Show, but I did this on the payoff. I don't know when. I really do think Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are two of the 10 best quarterbacks of all time, with Patrick Mahomes in there as well. Obviously, that goes without saying. But when it comes to like sheer talent, who would I want to start a franchise with? I'm not disrespecting anyone that takes Elway or Montana or Steve Young. I will gladly rock with Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson if we're doing pick from the, like, you know what I mean? Like all-time players.
Right.
Who do you want your quarterback to be? I'll gladly rock with Josh Allen. I'll gladly take Mahomes over a lot of these old legends. Michael Vick has the pedigree, but I'd rather have Lamar Jackson. I just think he's a more talented player. Elway was one of the best, throwers of the football. Dan Marino, one of the best throwers of the football ever. All amazing stuff. Not trying to take anything away from them. I'd rather have Josh Allen. I just think the physical traits that he brings to the table on a week-to-week basis, there's nothing he can't do. He's Superman. We've got a Super Lou over here now, by the way. If you're watching on the stream, Super Lou. Amazing. But those are the 4 candidates I'll throw out there, and you can throw out anyone else too. We've got some people in the chat throwing out some other players as well. But those would be the 4 guys that I go to as the best players in sports without a ring. And to be honest, Kyle, I do think it's McDavid, because Aaron Judge, best hitter since Barry Bonds. But in baseball, you don't actually need a ring to define your legacy. Barry Bonds doesn't have a ring. Everyone still considers him the best hitter of all time, or most people do, I guess. In the NHL, you need a ring. All the best players of all times have them. And Connor McDavid is kind of the exception of all the 10 best players, 15 best players of all time that do have the ring. He's the exception because he doesn't have one. And in football, with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, they at least have the excuse of, we have to deal with Mahomes, man. We have to deal with Mahomes. This is like everyone in the Eastern Conference back in 2010 to 2017, 18, when LeBron went to 8 straight finals or whatever it ended up being. It's like, I don't know how we're supposed to make it out of this conference when LeBron's here. At least Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have that sort of, I don't want to call it an excuse, but a reason to where I don't think that they're the number one person.
Yeah, do they both have a Super Bowl if Mahomes doesn't exist?
One of them does. One of them 1,000% does. I think it's Connor McDavid here, and I don't think it's close.
You don't think it's close?
Nope.
Well, here's the issue. Like you said, rings are valued differently across the sports. I would say that in the NBA, a singular player impacts a team to win a championship the most.
Correct.
That's 5 guys on the floor.
All the best players of all time. There's no top 10 player that doesn't have a ring. That it just doesn't exist.
Right. NHL is really close as well. A singular player really can impact a team and their ability to win a championship. Now, you could argue that quarterbacks is the most, but also there's a completely other side of the football that quarterback cannot impact. So that, to me, obviously, quarterbacks winning rings is very important to their legacy as well. Baseball is the least, like you said, with Barry Bonds. Mike Trout is a guy that I think deserves to be on this topic as well. As far as best right now, Trout is obviously not at the top of his game. If we did this 5 years ago, it'd be a different story.
He at least gets a mention.
Trout has also appeared in 1 playoff game in his career, so really has never even come close.
Back when the wild card was a one game game. Ridiculous.
But as far as, obviously the MLB is the least impacted by a single player, but who's the best player in sports without a ring? If that's just the question, it's Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is the best. Aaron Judge is the best hitter of the baseball that you and I have seen. And that's going to make a lot of people upset with Miguel Cabrera existing. I love Miguel Cabrera. Probably my favorite player ever. Aaron Judge is the best hitter I think I've ever gotten to watch.
I was in the Miguel train for so long just because of the high averages and stuff too. But this year that Judge is having, it's not even a debate anymore, man. He's hitting 377 and leads the league in home runs.
Here's the current resume.
It's not close.
Current resume of Aaron Judge, and he's at the peak of his powers right now. 2-time MVP, obviously going to be a 3-time MVP. 6-time All-Star, going to be 7. 4-time Silver Slugger, going to be 5. Most home runs in a single season in American League history was 62. He's led the league in homers 3 times, led the league in RBIs twice, led the league in OPS twice. It's going to be 3 for all of those, and add another one for this season. Currently in major contention for the Triple Crown. So if you're a Miguel Cabrera guy that you take that, Aaron Judge is easily going to get it with average and RBIs. Homers, he's right there with Cal Raleigh right now. I would take my odds on Aaron Judge.
Me too.
He's just, the issue with him is the counterpart you could take, he has not been a good playoff player. And obviously to win a ring, you have to be good in the playoffs. A career batting average of 205 in the playoffs, a 768 OPS, which is still above league average. Not for Aaron Judge. right? That guy is leading the league in OPS every time. So as far as who's the best player, to me, it's Aaron Judge. I understand the argument for Connor McDavid. I'm a bigger MLB guy than I am NHL guy, so maybe that plays into it. But Aaron Judge is the best.
I see your argument. I understand your argument. But the category that McDavid is swimming in is, I don't even know what to compare it to in NBA world, because all of the top NBA players have rings, like I said. Top 15 players of all time all have a ring on their finger. You can say the same thing about the NHL. McDavid is kind of the lone guy without one. He's already won 3 Hart trophies, 2017, 2021, 2023. He's already won the Art Ross Trophy, 2017, 2018, 2021, 2022, 2013. That's for the point leader, 5 times. Ted Lindsay Award, Most Outstanding Player, 4 times. Rocket Richard Trophy. Actually hasn't won any of those. He just, the skill that he brings to the rink on a nightly basis, the skill that he brings to the ice, he just levitates in terms of just for a casual viewer. He sticks out like a sore thumb. Not that Aaron Judge doesn't. That's not at all what I'm saying, but this is a guy who won a Conn Smythe Trophy being on the losing team. Like, that is very difficult to do in the Stanley Cup Finals. That's what he did last year. Sam Bennett wins it this year. He's one of 4 players. He would have been one of 4 players, I guess, if they would have won the ring, to have 3 Hart trophies, the Conn Smythe Trophy, and have the ring. Like, he's just in such a rare territory that this ring is like, once he wins the ring, you could make the argument he jumps into like one of the 3 to 4 to 5 best hockey players ever. That's the reason I think he's the best player without a ring going in sports right now. But there has to be a couple more honorable mentions too. Michael Preby in the chat says Chris Paul, best player without a ring in sports right now.
If we're doing career, he's probably the NBA guy. Him or Harden or Russ. Currently still playing, if we're taking their entire legacy and all their accolades, Chris Paul is probably the highest ranked player all time in the NBA without a ring. But obviously, current version of Chris Paul is not there.
Troy in Saginaw says Cristiano Ronaldo.
We're doing a major American sports, right?
Yeah, I can't.
I can't speak for that.
I don't.
Yeah,
because there's so many leagues. It's like, what does a ring even mean in soccer? You know what I mean? And I probably sound sound really naive saying that, but like, there's so many different soccer leagues. Whether it's like MLS or I don't. And I'm just gonna start saying things I don't actually know, so I'm just gonna stop. There was another person that said James Harden, which is understandable, but James Harden, I think, is like he's the reason he doesn't have a ring.
His whole thing is he's bad in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's
same with Russell Westbrook.
That's kind of the whole thing behind it.
What I will say, here's a fun one.
Yeah,
how many years into his career without a ring would Wemby have to get into this conversation? Like, let's say he just doesn't get a ring. How soon would it have to be? Just from best player, not accolades, just who is the best player? Like 5 years in? You're like, man.
I think we start having that conversation about Luka before Wemby. Because Luka's probably the best active player in the NBA without a ring, right? Assuming Shea's going to get one tomorrow night.
Right. Yeah, Luka and definitely Luke.
But Luka's kind of got some years. Luka's getting sneaky up there. What, 25 now? 26?
Yeah, 26 probably.
We threw this poll out on Twitter too. Connor McDavid, Aaron Judge, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Who is the best player in sports without a ring right now? You guys can go vote that. Bosscher Ben is the Twitter handle. Right now, Connor McDavid in first place with 56.2% of the votes.
Recency bias, man.
Aaron Judge in second with 24.7% of the votes. Josh Allen with 13%. And Lamar Jackson with 5%. Remind me, are you a Lamar or Josh Allen guy?
I was actually going to ask you this. I'm a Lamar guy.
I'm a Josh Allen guy.
But it's close. Like, I'm not mad if you go either way.
Matt in Saginaw says Ronaldo is World Cup. Thanks. So he's just never won the World Cup. I'm sure he's won rings in other things, in other leagues.
Probably.
But, yeah, Messi was the one that got the World Cup a couple of years back. So
if Aaron Judge wins the the Baseball World Cup. Like, is that... Are we saying that he's off this list?
No, because the World Cup means way more in soccer. Although, I don't know, that Baseball World Classic was pretty electric a few years back. I'm excited for that to kind of spark back up again next year. All right, 989-837-6125. We've still got our giveaway to get to. Still got to circle back to the Javy Baez conversation as well. And we've still got around the league. A lot of good stuff coming up. Oh, and there's one guy I want the Tigers to trade for at the deadline. Stay tuned. It's the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
I'm Sarah Stockford, host of 100.9 The Mitt Success Suite, a podcast highlighting the most inspiring female leaders across the Great Lakes Bay region. This month, we spoke with Mary Draves, former Dow executive and leader in the Midland community.
I think as we get a little bit older, we start to care less about what other people think.
That's a great point, yeah.
And so as I've gotten older, I think I've become way more comfortable in who I am, what I stand for. And, when you get to that point, all of a sudden, you become less apologetic about who you are. You also, you're like, hey, this is me, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
And I think in my 20s versus maybe I'm in my 50s now, it's a very different person. And that's just really part of the continuum of growth.
Listen to the full interview with Mary on 100.9 The Mitt's YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notification button to be alerted when new episodes drop. That's Success Suite with Sarah Stockford.
It is the Scholar Athlete of the Month, proudly presented by Fisher Companies here on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. This month's recipient is Kari Kiefer from Freeland High School. With a 3.97 GPA, Kari is a three-sport athlete competing in cross-country, track, and basketball. Kari is a leader on the floor and talked on what she thinks makes an effective leader.
I think to be a great leader, you have to be able to hold each other accountable, like being able to give constructive criticism, but also a positive with it. Anytime I kind of talk with my teammates, I try to give them a positive if I'm going to give them a negative too, just to kind of balance it out and keep that relationship strong.
Kari scored over 1,500 points in her 4 seasons at Freeland. She'll continue her basketball and academic career at Northwood University. To hear the full interview and nominate a local athlete for our scholarship program, visit 1009themitt.com.
The Michigan Baseball Foundation is more than just baseball. It's a driver of economic growth and community. Operating one of the nation's top minor league stadiums, MBF supports job creation and regional development. Through creative partnerships and charitable giving, MBF has helped bring projects like Dow Diamond, the East End Development, Fairfield Inn and Suites, the Plaza, and the Dow Bay Area Family YMCA to life, generating over $23 million annually in economic impact. Every Great Lakes Loons ticket supports these efforts. Learn more at MichiganBaseballFoundation.org.
Step right up to Lucky Hot Dog Night with the Great Lakes Loons, Thursday, June 19th. Feeling lucky? Golden tickets will be hidden in the wrappers of our hot dogs throughout the game. It's Thirsty Thursday, presented by J.P. O'Sullivan Distributing, with half-off beer all night. And we'll have a post-game fireworks loontacular presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. This isn't just baseball. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. We're in your town, your school, your huddle. 100.9 The Mitt is here for sports fans in the Great Lakes Bay region. From the hardwoods of Saginaw to Midland's Friday Night Lights. From the streets of Bay City to Freeland, Frankenmuth, and Hemlock. We roll through Beaverton, Auburn, Pinconning, Essexville, and Shepherd. All the way to Gladwin, Birch Run, Coleman, and Bridgeport. This is your sports station. High school, college, NFL, the Loons. It's all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan sports leader.
I'm Ben Bosscher, and here's what I think. I think replay should be taken out of basketball entirely. I think 2 super conferences would fix college football. I think the best football, basketball, and baseball players of all time are currently playing. I think the day the Lions win the Super Bowl is going to be the greatest day of my life. I think Monty Williams sabotaged the Pistons on purpose, and you can't convince me otherwise. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches of all time, but most definitely cheated, got caught, and ran away. And I think you should tune into the Ben Bosscher Show, fueled by Forward Energy, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.9 The Mitt if you agree with anything I just said.
Local sports don't stop when the game ends, and neither do we. 100.9 The Mitt is your digital home for the latest news across the state of Michigan. From high school to college and the pros, it's all on our socials. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search 100.9 The Mitt and join the squad. Stay locked in on the latest stats and stories with exclusive video takes from local talent. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt.
Here are 5 good reasons for high school multi-sport participation. Fewer overuse injuries, less opportunity for emotional burnout, exposure to different kids and coaches, exposure to different roles, and learning to compete better. Being a multi-sport participant can help a kid become a more well-rounded person. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back in Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mitt. I've got one more McDavid thing for you before we move on, Kyle. So far in McDavid's career, this man has 1,082 points total. If he were to play another 10 years, that'd put him over 2,000. He'd be one of 2 players to ever go over 2,000 points. So I'm just saying,
that's pretty
he's
good.
entering a ridiculous territory. Or he's already there. He needs the ring to really define the career.
Judge.
So does Mr. Judge. But again, I don't think his legacy is defined by whether or not he gets a ring or not.
You're right. That's what makes the argument more in favor of McDavid. I would agree.
All right. It is Wednesday. Kyle, what are you watching?
I'm so happy you asked. So I'm a big movie guy, obviously, as we've talked. And I don't know, I wonder if other people relate to this. So the way that I like to watch movies is I'll pick a random movie to watch, one that I've been wanting to watch. And then I'll watch several other movies I haven't watched from either the lead actor that's in the movie or the director of the movie. Like, I like to watch them in groups. So I went through a phase of watching some Ben Affleck movies recently. And then within the last month or so, I dove into a lot of the Jake Gyllenhaal movies that I have not seen, which, by the way, Jake Gyllenhaal, most underrated actor probably ever.
Really?
Humongous Jake Gyllenhaal fan.
Okay.
Just want to throw that out there. So within the last month, and I've seen obviously a lot of the Jake Gyllenhaal movies because I'm a big fan of his. Prisoners, tremendous movie. But in the last month, I watched End of Watch, cop movie, pretty good. Filmed in a pretty unique way. Nocturnal Animals, I watched that. And Enemy. Those 3 Jake Gyllenhaal movies I've tuned into over the last month.
I was so excited to do this like ongoing or like reoccurring topic with you, and I'm starting
to have time to watch.
I'm starting to realize you just know way more about movies than I do. Just way more.
There's still a lot of good movies I've never seen. Like, I'm not like a huge movie guy.
It kind of you're selling me like you are.
I have this notes in my phone where I rank every movie I've ever seen. I think we talked about this.
We did, and I would say that makes you a pretty big movie guy. Because this is going to sound terrible, the only Jake Gyllenhaal movie I think I've ever seen is the Spider-Man movie. In the Day After Tomorrow. Maybe I've seen that. I don't know.
He's in a lot of movies.
I'm just excited for
Prisoners movie you got to watch.
I'm excited for I think I mentioned this last week, though, the 28 Years Later. Because every time I see a trailer for that during the NBA or NHL Finals, I'm just like, that looks really good. So maybe go see that this weekend. I guess I'm not watching as much as you are. Well,
I haven't been really either. Obviously, Loons have been at home. But also, once NBA Finals wrap up, then it's really like, it's really no sports for at least a month, other than Tigers, obviously.
Right.
So, a lot of opportunity to start watching.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to really step up my movie game if I want to talk ball with you about this kind of stuff, because I feel a little bit out of the loop. Now, if we were going through like some album reviews, some music stuff,
well, this could
give you some wrestling takes.
Listening to Wednesday. It doesn't have to be movies, right? You could be watching music videos.
That's true. I've been watching a lot of Tiny Desk concerts lately.
See, there you go.
The Wiz Khalifa one that came out.
Haven't tuned in.
It's Got to be my favorite. It was Mac Miller
Really?
as the number one Tiny Desk concert, and now it is the Wiz Khalifa one. He started crying at the end. I was like, I didn't think I'd ever hear Wiz Khalifa cry. But
wow.
Here we go. Here we are at the end.
I'm going to have to tune in.
Yeah, they're great series on YouTube. Fantastic series on YouTube. All right, when we come back, I have a Detroit Tigers trade proposal for everyone listening. And it has to do with someone that the Tigers flirted with all summer long, or all offseason long. Do they want to make the phone call again? Ben Bosscher Show.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Hey, did you guys catch anything yet?
Not a thing.
Bummer, neither have we. I'm actually just about to head into town. I'm going to go into Higher Standards Automotive. They got this award-winning service department with amazing technicians and this large parts department in case I want to fix it myself. They got the part there.
Whatever.
No, I'm serious, man. It's out there.
Yeah, just like when you tried to convince me Bigfoot was real.
Ray?
Bigfoot's behind me, isn't he?
Yeah, we got him. Run! Get out! Stop into Higher Standards Automotive, North Eastman Road in Midland, right past the mall.
The new rebranded Matt Smith Modern Realty.
Well, Matt Smith Outdoors was really reflective of how I started my real estate journey, taking my outdoor experience, moving that into the real estate space to help people buy and sell land. So many people in this region ended up calling me and wanting me to work with them to help them buy and sell homes. This new brand was more reflective of what I'm delivering to people in this region every day.
Midland Eye Care wants you to know the pervasive use of technology can lead to digital eye strain, burning or tired eyes, headaches, fatigue, loss of focus, blurred or double vision. Overexposure light from electronic devices may also increase the likelihood of developing serious eye conditions such as age-related macular degeneration. To give your eyes a rest, remember 20-20-20. Every 20 minutes, take a 20-second break and look at something 20 feet away. This message brought to you by Midland Eye Care, your vision source on Eastman Road in Midland, on Cedar and Gladwin, and now on East Washington in Freeland.
Experience world-class golf and family fun at the Dow Championship. Returning to Midland Country Club June 23rd to the 29th. Come and see top LPGA professionals compete in the only team-based event on the tour. Explore interactive fan experiences, family-friendly activities, and delicious local food vendors. Plus, veterans and children under 17 get in free. Don't miss out. Visit DowChampionship.com today for more information.
I'm Ben Bosscher, and here's what I think. I think replay should be taken out of basketball entirely. I think 2 super conferences would fix college football. I think the best football, basketball, and baseball players of all time are currently playing. I think the day the Lions win the Super Bowl is going to be the greatest day of my life. I think Monty Williams sabotaged the Pistons on purpose, and you can't convince me otherwise. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches of all time, but most definitely cheated, got caught, and ran away. And I think you should tune into the Ben Bosscher Show, fueled by Forward Energy, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.9 The Mitt if you agree with anything I just said.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Michigan. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Hour number 2, let's get things rolling here on the Ben Bosscher Show. Look, I've got a Tigers trade. I guess I don't really have a trade proposal, more of a trade target that I think the Tigers should be hunting for this deadline. You remember this offseason, Kyle, when the Detroit Tigers and Alex Bregman flirted back and forth with each other for God knows how long. Basically the entire offseason. Do you want to be a Tiger? Yes, I do. Do you want to sign here for a lot of money? Yes, I do. Would you rather go play in Boston, boost your numbers with the opt-out deal in 2026 so you can go sign an even bigger deal? Yes. That's what ultimately led to Alex Bregman not being a Detroit Tiger. I don't think it was a matter of, I don't want to be in Detroit. I think he just took the best offer that was on the table for him, which was, hey, we'll give you an opt-out after the first season. So if you look like your numbers playing in Boston, You want to boost them up, and you think you can get a better deal than the one we're giving you right now, then you can opt out and take that better deal. I look at Boston, and they just traded Devers. They're still without Bregman right now. He's on IL. If they keep losing, and they struggle for the next 45 days, and they become sellers at the deadline, Alex Bregman, to me, becomes a no-brainer. We kind of have to sell him because if he opts out of his contract and they lose him for nothing, big loss for the Red Sox. You may as well get some capital for him, and the Tigers have a lot of that. There's going to be people that argue we don't need Alex Bregman. Look at what they've done without him. He didn't want to be here. I say that's ridiculous. Upon arrival, he'd have the best OPS on the team by over 100 points. He would be the best player on the team. Riley Green's great. Spencer Torkelson's great. Kerry Carpenter can be great. Gleyber Torres never has a bad at bat. Alex Bregman is a bona fide superstar. He'd be the best bat on the team. Not to mention, former Gold Glove winner. Guess who has the worst outs above average at third base in the entire MLB? That would be the Detroit Tigers. At a -32. It's the worst outs above average in baseball for a single, the third base position. They're not good defensively in that spot. Why would you not go land Alex Bregman? I get it. The culture, the fit, the vibes in the dugout and in the clubhouse are very important to this organization. But they wanted him here originally. So that makes me think there would be no disruption to adding someone like that. People have this negative connotation of Bregman because he did not choose to be here, which is okay, but it's not like the Tigers didn't want him here. It's not like he wasn't a good fit. And if they have an opportunity to add someone like that at the trade deadline, even though there's the chance it's a rental, I think you have to pull the trigger on it because that would make you substantially better, both defensively and on offense. If you say we don't need him, they can win without him, you have the chance to add, you have the chance to make your team that much better. To say you don't want an Alex Bregman back on this team, I think is naive and I think it's ludicrous.
Just throwing it out there. Red Sox 8-2 in their last 10.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Also
the Red Sox are in the business
division
to be selling. Right? I mean, why wouldn't they just bring back Alex Bregman? They just cleared up over $200 million off their payroll. I would assume they want to keep Alex Bregman.
They're one game over 500.
No matter how this season goes.
Yeah, but it's not really up to them whether or not they get to keep Alex Bregman.
Yeah, it is. They could give him the most money.
Okay, fair. But yeah, then he'd have to opt out and then he'd have to re-sign for an entirely different deal.
Which I think is likely.
That could happen. But what if the Tigers come calling with an offer that Boston doesn't really want to turn down? Hey, here's Jose Briseño. Hey, here's Hao Lee, Jace Young, Matt Vierling. Like, they've got a ton of options to be able to make this happen. And I think if Boston is going to sell, to your point, 8-2 in their last 10, a lot of games to be played. They're still 5.5 games back. In their division, in the wild card race, there's a ton of teams involved. So if 45 days they happen to start slipping, I do think the Tigers need to call the Red Sox and say, what is it going to take? Yes. What is it going to take to get someone like Alex Bregman? It's the guy we all wanted in the offseason. You've got a chance potentially to get that guy on your team and solidify yourself as the best team in the American League. That, to me, is a no-brainer.
It is. It just depends on the likelihood of him coming back to Detroit as well. I would assume that from the comments we've heard from Scott Harris, trading major capital in, these prospects for a guy that's going to be on the team for half the year, it doesn't seem like something he would like to entertain that much, right? When they already have a chance to make a deep playoff run without him. I mean, what would you say the likelihood is that they would bring back Bregman?
Boston?
No. The Tigers, if they traded for him.
Oh. I mean, he wanted to play here.
For sure he wanted to play here. He's going to be playing here.
65%.
If they make that trade.
70%.
65?
70.
With Tarek Skubal due for a contract extension still, they pay Bregman before him?
They have the money to do it.
I understand that, but we have to realize what's actually going to happen. Of course they have the money. Every team has the money. They're all owned by rich guys.
The Tigers have one of the 10 richest owners in baseball. I don't want to sit here and pound my fist on the table and be like, let's just pay everybody, no salary cap, because I can do that all day and get myself pretty worked up about it. But with them being 18th in payroll right now, and I get it, they have a ton of guys that they have to pay down the line, bringing in an Alex Bregman, I don't think would alter your plans to change a Tarek Skubal, or at least it shouldn't. It shouldn't alter your plans to pay Tarek Skubal. Tarek Skubal, paying him should be your number one priority. And if you can land another bat like Alex Bregman, who's an all-star every year that he's healthy, who has a 938 OPS this season, who's a former Gold Glover at third base and one of the best defensive third basemen in Major League Baseball, I don't really understand what the argument would be to not try to sign both of those players, other than, well, we're just trying to save money here. If that's your goal, though, if your number one goal as an owner is to save money, then why do you own the team? I get it. Like, you're not going to sell the entire farm system from the Scott Harris point to get a guy on not an expiring contract, but a guy with an opt-out after this season.
A likely expiring contract, I would say, based on the year he's having.
Correct. But if you can bring him in and have that big of an upgrade defensively at third base, again, the Tigers are the worst team defensively at third base this season, and you bring in a Gold Glover, and you have a new best hitter on offense, to me, that's such a simple, why wouldn't we do this? Like, you have to chase the World Series ring before you chase the long-term longevity of your franchise. And I guess I don't understand the narrative that people are throwing out there of why would we sell people for Alex Bregman when they have a great farm system? These guys are coming. The reason you'd sell guys for Alex Bregman is because he'd be the best player on your team. You're already the best team in Major League, at least the American League. Why would you not add someone that talented to the roster and make yourself even more comfortable saying we're going to the World Series this season? I don't understand the logic behind it.
Okay, here's a counter to that. Let's take all the contract and money and prospect stuff out of it. Just from a Tigers' biggest need, if there is one big trade that is going to happen, we talked about this in the open, right? You talked about the Javy Baez, Javeer Baze thing. You trust Javeer Baze to be the guy that's going to show up. So that means he's in the lineup. Wenzel Perez has been an everyday guy now in the lineup. Matt Vierling is going to return at some point. And Zach McKinstry has been really good. Oh, and I didn't even mention Colt Keith. Like, what is happening with the rest of this team? I'm not saying that these guys are better than Alex Bregman. Of course they're not. But is it really the biggest need to add a bat at this point?
It's not the biggest need to add a bat, but if that's a possibility,
if there's one big trade that's going to happen
for the Tigers,
you're choosing Alex Bregman over a bullpen or starter.
Bullpen is the bigger need. But Alex Bregman's probably the best player that you can add. So why would you not try to go add the best player available?
Because it's probably not the biggest need.
And
it's a bigger risk.
This is back to the Brad Holmes thing.
You're giving up more. If he's the best player you can get, that means you're giving up more.
Not necessarily, because it's an expiring deal. It's not technically expiring, but it's someone who's
wouldn't that mean you're giving
to opt out of his deal.
To a team that probably has a pretty high chance of bringing him back themselves, who just traded away their third baseman, franchise player. You think they want to get rid of both of their franchise players?
I don't think they want to, but if they continue to lose here for the next few seasons, why can't Boston convince themselves we can get prospects for Bregman by trading him and get him back? Exactly what the Tigers did with Jack Flaherty last season. If there is if there's even the chance that they think they could pull that off, why would they not do that? Because if they fall for the next 40 games until I guess it's the next 40 games-ish, 40 days-ish until the trade deadline, July 31st. If they continue to fall and they know they're not going to make the playoffs, which, again, they'd have to get cold here. They're not cold right now. But if that's the case, go try to get some I would be making the case to go get some prospects, right? I would be making the case if I was doing Boston radio that, hey, flip Alex Bregman if you think you can get this guy back, because you seem convinced that he's going to want to come back to Boston. Okay, then give him the little wink-wink deal, send him away and say, we'll be waiting for you this offseason, exactly like the Tigers just did with Jack Flaherty.
Right. I mean, but that's so much harder to do than just keeping him on your roster and keeping him in the building. You have no idea what's going to happen once you send him away.
Correct, but the Tigers did a risk and it paid off. You have no idea if you keep Alex Bregman if he actually wants to stay in Boston.
No one wanted Jack Flaherty either.
No one wanted Jack Flaherty, that's right.
People want Alex Bregman.
But we don't know if Alex Bregman actually wants to stay in Boston or not, or if he just chose to be in Boston because, hey, that was the best deal for me at the time because of that opt-out clause.
That is why he chose Boston. I mean, that was
because
made
of the
very
opt-out
clear.
clause, right?
Yes, it was best for his career to go to a hitters-friendly park, put up some juicy numbers, and then go get that contract that's going to, seal the deal for the rest of his career.
So why can't the Tigers be that team to give him the contract, I guess is what I'm wondering.
Well, then we're having a different conversation. It's whether they're trading for him or giving him a contract, because those are two completely different things.
989-837-6125. You comfortable with the idea of knocking on the door of the Boston Red Sox and trying to trade for the one and only Alex Bregman, the guy that the Tigers flirted with over the entire course of the offseason? We've still got our Big Win Wednesday giveaway, 989-837-6125. That is the number you're going to have to text into to try to win $100 worth of gas cards. You know what, Kyle? Let's give these away when we come back here. Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Hi, this is Jim Mahoney with Link Technologies. As a business owner, you might be struggling with today's technological advancements in the IT arena and how they could benefit your growing business. Let Link Technologies' talented staff work with you to develop a technology plan custom to your specific needs. We bring 27 years of experience helping businesses and nonprofit organizations just like yours achieve their technology goals. Contact us today and see how the right balance between cloud and on-premise resources can best work for you.
Since 2007, the Michigan Baseball Foundation has invested over $1.8 million into our communities, supporting over 350 projects across 14 Michigan counties. From restoring Alma Little League fields to creating nature-based classrooms at the Chippewa Nature Center and enhancing accessibility at the middle of the Mitt Miracle Field, MBF is making a real difference. Every ticket to a Great Lakes Loons game helps fund these initiatives. Join us in building a stronger, more vibrant community. Learn more at MichiganBaseballFoundation.org.
Celebrate 4th of July with the Great Lakes Loons. Join us for our block party on Main, presented by the Michigan Army National Guard. Celebrate America's independence with face painting, balloon animals, the inflatable zone on the front lawn, and of course, America's pastime. The evening wraps up with a spectacular fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. For tickets, visit loons.com. This isn't just baseball, it's the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
I'm Ben Bosscher, and here's what I think. I think replay should be taken out of basketball entirely. I think 2 super conferences would fix college football. I think the best football, basketball, and baseball players of all time are currently playing. I think the day the Lions win the Super Bowl is going to be the greatest day of my life. I think Monty Williams sabotaged the Pistons on purpose, and you can't convince me otherwise. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches of all time, but most definitely cheated, got caught, and ran away. And I think you should tune into the Ben Bosscher Show, fueled by Forward Energy, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.9 The Mitt if you agree with anything I just said.
We're in your town, your school, your huddle. 100.9 The Mitt is here for sports fans in the Great Lakes Bay region. From the hardwoods of Saginaw to Midland's Friday Night Lights. From the streets of Bay City to Freeland, Frankenmuth, and Hemlock. We roll through Beaverton, Auburn, Pinconning, Essexville, and Shepherd. All the way to Gladwin, Birch Run, Coleman, and Bridgeport. This is your sports station. High school, college, NFL, the Loons. It's all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan sports leader.
When it comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live for the better of myself, my family. My weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Before we get to our giveaway, we'll do a couple texts here. First one from Dwayne. Bregman didn't want to be here. This is ridiculous. Screw Bregman. Eugenio. Is it Eugenio? Is that how you say it? Eugenio Suarez is a former Tiger and has 21 home runs. That's the guy that they should be going after. All right, Dwayne, you're coming with the stats. 21 home runs, pretty good. You want to guess what his outs above average is at third base? Want to guess what his run value is at third base?
He's also like a boomer playing in the... Like, he should be a DH, you know?
-3.
Yeah.
-2 run value.
Can I give you a quick Bregman comparison?
Yes.
Bregman is like the girl you meet in the last semester of college, and you find, and like you wish you would have met her earlier, and then you find out like, oh, you guys are both going to be working in the same city post-college. Like, wow, this could be great. And then at the last second, she gets a better opportunity to go work somewhere else, and she has to prioritize that over your relationship. And that's what happened with, you know, the Tigers and the Red Sox.
Dude.
Pretty good? Pretty good?
You nailed that, honestly. You nailed that. This is
but like you both know you like want to, you like wish it would have worked out, but it can't.
You wish it would have worked out, but it didn't. And it's probably good for both parties, right? Or maybe at least just one of the parties.
No, it's like better for you. It's like better for the guy, a.k.a. the Tigers, in this situation.
Why? Why is it better?
You got your hopes up. Like, you got your hopes up that you were both going to be together in the same city, and then, now she's gone.
So what?
Dang,
wouldn't it be better for?
Heartbroken.
It'd be better for the girl or Boston in this situation. It sounds like to me the Tigers are very sad that this person moved away and is thinking about what their life could be like if they decided to stay.
This is exactly
and it would be
what I'm
even
saying.
better.
Yes, this is exactly what I'm saying.
So the Tigers are the losers in this situation.
Yes, the Tigers are for sure the losers. They're the heartbroken one.
Yeah.
They got their hopes up.
But still thriving. But
Still,
it just
like,
could
maybe
be better.
maybe you met a new girl, but like you still got that old girl on your mind. You're never really gonna give up on her.
The thing is, you never met a new girl with this in this scenario. You just went to your city and just
worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. Like your life is still good, but you're like, what?
But you're still thinking about
what
like,
could it
what
be
if
like
she was
if
here?
she was here? Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the man of metaphors. Good job, Kyle. That was real fantastic there. All right, let's do our giveaway here. 989-837-6125. That's what you have to type in. That's what you have to text in. Actually, that's the number you have to text in. The word you have to text in is gas. Text in gas to 989-837-6125 for a chance to win $100 worth of gas cards, thanks to the Forward Corporation and, of course, thanks to our friends at Garber Chevrolet for making Big Win Wednesday possible. We'll let those texts roll in. We'll do
Gassed,
around the league.
You said the word is?
Gas. Yeah.
Gas.
Gas. And until we pick a winner, let's take a trip around the league.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
All right, Ben. We've been taking a trip around the league, primarily in the NFL. Let's switch things up today. Let's take a trip around the MLB. We've been talking about Major League Baseball a lot today. We got a new anonymous Major League Baseball player poll with a couple questions asked. I want you to kind of guess and react a little bit to these put out by The Athletic earlier this week.
If I'm going to be honest, I still can't get over the girlfriend analogy that you just put with Bregman, and that was masterful. The more I think
really
about it.
appreciate that.
Masterful.
Usually I come up with these like immediately. That one I kind of thought about during the break. I won't lie.
It was good, man.
I kind of plotted that one.
It was good.
Thank you. Okay, let's get back to this MLB player poll. Which player do you most like to watch play? 135 answers on this one. Any guesses on the top couple responses, or maybe who you think it is?
If I'm taking the poll, the answer is definitely Ohtani, and I have a hard time seeing other players say it's not him. The other guy I could see getting some votes here that might sneaky be towards the top. I'm just thinking for like basically position players, like infielders. Bobby Witt's got to be up there, right?
Yeah, you got 1 and 2 knocked out. Ohtani obviously
Boom!
first. Bobby Witt second, 14 responses. Ohtani with 29, so just double second place. I'm kind of surprised Witt is second. To me, I'd have thought Elly De La Cruz would be the number 2 guy.
I think the reason Bobby Witt would be second over a guy like Judge or Elly De La Cruz is Elly De La Cruz and Judge, like it feels like amongst peers, they don't look up to Judge as much as you would think because he's 6'7" and just this unit of a person to whereas Bobby Witt's a little bit more relatable for like an average player because he doesn't have this ridiculous physical advantage over everyone else.
I mean, he also is like the fastest guy in the league. Like, he's up there.
Judge?
With the Ellie's. No, Bobby Witt.
Yes. Ellie, same situation, has that cannon of arm. You're right. I'm surprised Ellie De La Cruz isn't up there too because he's
just because
one
he's
of
got
my
the
favorite
speed,
guys
the
as well.
power, the cannon. Like, he really brings a lot of flashiness.
I'm more so talking about Judge, I guess. I do feel like there's a sense of his peers. It's not that they don't respect it. It's like, well, if I was 6'7" and 270 pounds or whatever he is, like I'd probably be hitting that many home runs too. What is he ranked on the list?
He's tied for 6th.
Yeah, that's
kind of crazy. Only
Crazy
5
low
votes.
for someone you said was the best baseball player or best athlete.
That's a good point.
Best athlete like ever that doesn't have a ring. And I'm not using that against you in the argument. It's just like crazy to think about.
No, for sure it is. De La Cruz is 4th with 9. Witt, like I said, was 2nd at 14.
Can I guess
Could
third?
you guess 3rd? Outfielder would have probably been 2nd on this list 2 years ago.
Juan Soto?
Not Juan Soto. Juan Soto not even on the list.
Really?
Yeah, and the bottom person is 2 votes. So maybe he got 1.
Outfielders.
Would have been number 2 probably 2 seasons ago. Been dealing with injuries the last couple years that have
Mike Trout?
made him
No
less
way.
popular. No,
Fernando
he likes a
Tatis?
lot of. That's a good guess. He's got 3 votes, but no. Want me to just give it to you?
Sure.
Ronald Acuna, former MVP.
Yeah.
Rocks a lot of the flashy colors, accessories when he plays, another chains guy. Pretty fun player to watch, yeah.
Yeah, falling under the
Mookie Betts
radar.
on here too. Lindor.
I was gonna say Mookie probably would have taken Bobby Witt's spot on there like 3 years ago. If we were doing this 3 years ago. That's the
I
infielder
would
that
say
can
so.
kind of do a little bit of everything. I guess he was an outfielder too.
Top pitcher, non-Otani. Who do you think? 4 votes.
Best player to watch is the question. Scooble.
It's Scooble,
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
with 4. The lone pitcher with 4. DeGrom is actually 2nd with 3. And Paul Skeens is there, Garrett Cole, each with 2 apiece.
I would have said I was debating whether or not to say Skeens.
I'm happy you said Scooble over Skeens.
Yeah.
Because it was right. Okay, next question. What hitter would you least want to pitch against in Game 7 of the World Series?
Aaron Judge, right?
Only 9 answers here, by the way. Aaron Judge is 3rd.
Oh, come on, man.
With 6. Look, I did just give you the playoff numbers for Aaron Judge.
I know.
We all watched him in the
That's
World
true.
Series
That's
last
true.
year. Kind of took a dumpy.
There's no way it's Otani for both answers, right? I feel like if you're asking these players to do it and they say Otani twice, they're going to be like, nah, I can't do that. Can't be
Otani's
glazing
2nd.
too much.
9 votes. First place has 10 votes. A little bit surprising, like a wee bit.
Is it Juan Soto?
It's Juan Soto.
Really?
I know, right? Maybe just because.
Interesting.
I mean, this is probably done. Maybe not this year's version of Juan Soto. Last year and the previous seasons, yeah.
You see him get
I
caught
would've thought
yesterday
Freddie
not knowing how
Freeman.
many outs there were?
Yeah, I did see that.
Got stuck in between first and second.
I would have thought Freddie would have been the top answer, honestly.
Yeah,
He's tied
he's
for 4th
ridiculous,
with
man.
4. Him, Jordan Alvarez, Mookie Betts, and Jose Ramirez on there.
Juan
No
Soto
Tigers
did hit
just yet.
327 last year in the postseason. Kind of forgot about that.
And he's just a on-base menace. You know, like you can't throw anything out of the zone to him. He will take. So
467 on base, 1101 OPS last year in the postseason. Yeah, that'll do it. Is Freddie Freeman 2nd?
He's tied for 4th. Otani was 2nd. Judge was 3rd. I mean, we've seen Freddie last year.
Bobby on the list?
Freddie was crazy in the World Series last year, man.
Is Bobby on the list?
He's right at the bottom, yeah. Him and Bryce Harper, 3 votes apiece.
Okay. Interesting.
So, we'll get a Tiger on that list eventually. Who would be the first Tiger to make that list?
That's kind of conversation we had earlier this week.
Based off of what we did in the
Riley.
playoffs,
I think it's
Kerry
Riley.
Carpenter.
I think
Dude
it's
hit a
Riley.
bomb off Class A. Give me Kerry.
I'd
All right,
take
last
Riley.
one. Similar question to that one, just flipped it around. What pitcher would you least want to face at the plate in Game 7 of the World Series?
Scooble.
Scoobel, second place. 5 votes where first place has 8.
How many votes? How many players did they poll?
50.
I'm going to guess.
I don't know how the first one got 130 and then this one has 50.
I'm going to guess the majority of people that voted for this were National League players. If Scoobel ended up being second, which makes me think, is it Chris Sale?
It's Chris Sale, the Cy Youngs of last year. I would guess this was done earlier in the year too, just based off of some of these responses, like Sale. But yeah, 8 votes for Chris Sale. Kind of wild. Over Scoobel?
I think the simple explanation behind it is they polled more National League guys than they did American League guys. That's my only explanation.
Could be the case. Any other guesses here?
Clase on there at all? Skeens on there, I would imagine.
Skeens on there, 3 votes. He's tied for third. No Clase. Kind of really.
Is it only starters? Yeah, probably.
No, there's a couple relievers.
Oh.
There's one that you've been talking about lately.
Chapman? Aroldis Chapman?
Aroldis Chapman, yes.
The other starters.
I can just give you the rest.
Do it.
So you got Zach Wheeler, Yohan Duran, both tied for third with Aroldis Chapman and Paul Skeens. And then tied with 2 apiece, you got Spencer Strider, Blake Trinan, Framber Valdez, DeGrom, Michael King, and Tyler Glasnow.
Okay, Tyler Glasnow getting some votes.
Yeah, we would love to see him pitch at some point as well for the Dodgers, as well as the rest of them, because they're all injured.
989-837-6125. You've got a couple more minutes to send in those text messages to try to win $100 worth of gas cards. Again, just text in gas to 989-837-6125. We should have a winner here coming up shortly. Until then, what player on the Lions, forget what role they have, do you want to take a leap this season? That is next here on the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Transform your outdoor space with Maple Hill Nursery. Whether you're a gardening enthusiast or just looking to relax in style, they have everything you need. From premium polywood furniture that never needs painting to top quality plants and trees, Maple Hill Nursery has it all. Plus, they offer free setup and delivery on in-stock barbecue grills. Visit them today just north of Midland Mall or check out their website for pro tips and expert advice. Maple Hill Nursery, making your yard the place to be.
Suit up, Sea Captain. At Dive and Glide in Midland, we've got all the gear you need to make a splash. Flippers that fit like a glove, masks that show you the underwater magic, and tanks ready to fuel your next adventure. Whether you're snorkeling the local lakes or dreaming of ocean depths, Dive and Glide has your back and your fins. Find us on Cambridge Street or swim over to diveandglideinc.com. Dive and Glide, making waves one splash at a time so you can dive deeper than ever before.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace Hardware and Sports in downtown Midland has some extra savings for rewards members this month. Let's clean up that yard. Save $3 instantly on select Roundup and Ortho weed killers. Save $10 on 64-ounce spruce, weed, and grass killer. You know what season it is? Grilling season. Free assembly and delivery on grills, $399 and up from brands like Weber and Traeger. Need that deck touched up? Do it and save $10 instantly on a gallon of Cabot exterior stain.
Celebrate 4th of July with the Great Lakes Loons. Join us for our block party on Main, presented by the Michigan Army National Guard. Celebrate America's independence with face painting, balloon animals, the inflatable zone on the front lawn, and of course, America's pastime. The evening wraps up with a spectacular Fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. For tickets, visit loons.com. This isn't just baseball, it's the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. Scrolling? Make it count. Want local sports content that actually matters? Yeah. 100.9 The Mitt is loaded with local highlights, viral plays, breaking sports news, and takes you can't get enough of.
It's hot!
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube today, and you'll never be out of the loop on the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Michigan State, and even the biggest stories in high school sports in the Great Lakes Bay region. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader. This is more than just a lineup. It's a daily ritual for the die-hard Michigan sports fans. At 6 a.m., Anthony Bellino wakes up the state with Spin on Sports.
I do not believe it.
At 9, the Ben Bosscher Show is appointment listening hosted here in the Great Lakes Bay region.
I would like to buy some Casey Mize stock.
America's Best takes over at noon. The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Well, what about Patrick Mahomes?
And at 3, Bill Simonson brings it home on The Huge Show. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt for the most passionate fans in Michigan. Local sports don't stop when the game ends, and neither do we. 100.9 The Mitt is your digital home for the latest news across the state of Michigan. From high school to college and the pros, it's all on our socials. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search 100.9 The Mitt and join the squad. Stay locked in on the latest stats and stories with exclusive video takes from local talent. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back in, Ben Bosscher Show. We have reached out to our winner, and we just got confirmation from him. Congratulations to Kevin from Bay City. You are going home with $100 worth of gas cards. Congratulations. If you just won $100 right now, what would you buy? Not gas related.
Gas. Oh, darn it.
Not gas related. I just handed you $100 bill. I
had to buy something.
You
I couldn't
have to
put
go
it towards something.
No, you have to spend it today.
God, you're putting me on the spot. Probably something golf related.
That's a good answer. 100 is a very specific number in today's. Now I'm feel like I'm about to do a boomer take where it's with how crazy inflation is. It's $100. You can't go get yourself something.
Yeah, you can't even buy anything with $100.
Well, I'm saying you can't get yourself something very nice, but it's not that's obviously that's better than I don't know. I'd probably buy clothes or something. That's probably what I would do.
Yeah, that's
buy
a nice basic answer.
Yeah. Okay. With that being said, congrats to Kevin. You can fill up on gas a couple of times, depending on how big the vehicle is. In the meantime, I wanted to work in some Lions today. I feel like I've made this clear, but if I haven't, I'd like to do it again. And yesterday we had the conversation about the Tigers. If you could light one guy on fire for the rest of the first half of the season up until the All-Star break, who would you give the lighter fluid and the flame to? And you could do that with the Lions and say, hey, I'm picking one guy. This guy is going to level up. The player on the Lions that I would want to take a leap forward the most is Terrion Arnold, and I don't even think it is. There's no second. Terrion Arnold is that person to me because if he can develop into a cornerback one, and I'm not saying the best corner in the league in conversations for defensive player of the year or anything like that, but if he can develop into a CB1, an above average one, one that gets taken in the first round of the draft, what you expect that person to be, all of a sudden you're talking about the Lions secondary being one of the nastiest units in football. You've got the best safety tandem in the NFL. You've got DJ Reed, who's already shown he can be the second best corner. If DJ Reed is the second best corner, we've seen this in New York with Sauce Gardner. That is one of the best second corners in the league. But that would also require Terrion Arnold to take a huge step forward. I don't think he's going to be Sauce Gardner, but he could be something a B minus version, a B plus version of it. I don't know. You take that in consideration with the defensive line, how much pressure is going to be put on quarterbacks with Aiden Hutchinson and Aleem McNeil healthy at the second half of the season. To me, it's Terrion Arnold. That would be the one guy I give superpowers to level up. You're taking a huge step forward, and all of a sudden the Lions secondary and the Lions defense in general becomes one of the best units in the NFL.
Yeah, it's a really good answer. I think it also depends on who you have confidence in to take a leap, because if there's a guy that maybe you aren't that confident in to take a leap, you would choose him. Maybe a Graham Glasgow. I'd pick him. Makes the offensive line that much better. But I won't go that way. I think Jack Campbell's a pretty fun pick.
Mm-hmm.
With the situation going on with Alex Anzalone, I think he's obviously going to play, but I doubt they extend him, at least at the number that he probably wants, especially with Jack Campbell there. So I would go with him to take a leap as the true leader of this defense. We've seen Alex Anzalone lead the way these last couple years and just be such a good captain on that side of the ball. If Jack Campbell can fill in, be that guy, younger, better contract, I would choose him. But Arnold is a really good pick.
Jack Campbell has been one of those guys that I have been fascinated with since the moment they drafted him because of that. Do you remember that raw score? The what is it? Raw athletic score? Is that so? He had like a 9.98. It was like one of the best off-ball linebacker raw scores that had ever existed out of the combine. This guy has a 6'5" frame, just this ginormous dude, good change of direction, super athletic, straight line speed. And I was so excited for him as a rookie. Then he could barely work his way onto the field. Then when he was on the field, it's like they didn't really know how to use him. Remember that stretch where they had him playing Sam linebacker and he was lining up on the defensive line, rushing after guys? That was disastrous. And it was just like, all right, we have this guy that we believe in the traits and the abilities and the mentality more specifically, because everything we know about Jack Campbell is he is a Detroit Lion at heart. You have this guy that you believe in. They just didn't know how to use him. And I think the reason that they couldn't figure out how to use him was the role that he should be taking on is the Alex Anzalone role. And they weren't just going to push Alex Anzalone to the side because he was and has been one of the best off-ball linebackers in the NFL the last couple of seasons. They ended up finding a way last year to put him and Anzalone together on the field for the most part. But I do think that if Jack Campbell can take that leap forward, we are talking about someone who is, maybe like comparing anyone to Fred Warner doesn't really seem fair because he's kind of levels above everyone. But we are talking about if he can take a step forward, that is probably one of the 5 to 6 to 7 best off-ball linebackers in the NFL, where Terran Arnold taking a step forward doesn't even necessarily make him a top 10 corner, if that makes sense.
Right.
But would you rather have the 11th best corner in the NFL or the 5th best off-ball linebacker? Probably the 11th best corner, right?
Probably, just especially specifically for the Lions, that linebacking core you still feel has some pretty good depth, whereas the corners do too, but the last 2 years, it's been wiped out by the end of the year.
Yeah, which it's so funny. Like everyone talks about the lack of depth at the corners. Like somehow Kindle Vildor back-to-back years playing in Lions playoff games. They did everything they could last season to get the depth as to
deep keep Kindle Vildor off the team. Yeah,
right. And they draft 2 different corners. They bring in Carlton Davis. They do all this. They bring in Amik Robertson. They re-sign Emmanuel Mosley. Like they do all this stuff to ensure we'll never have to see Kindle Vildor again. But with Ennis Rakestraw banged up and Amik Robertson ended up going down in the playoff game as well, and Carlton Davis, the fractured jaw, it ended up just being like somehow we're back right to square. And Emmanuel Mosley obviously didn't contribute at all. It just ended up right back at square one. It's like, here's Kindle Vildor in a playoff game for the 2nd consecutive year. I don't think there's any way that we see that happen again. I don't even know if he's going to make the team.
Ooh, knock on wood there.
Yeah, knock on wood, but like there's no way the Lions deal with as many injuries defensively as they did last season. I just refuse to believe that that's even possible. That they get that unlucky back-to-back seasons.
Even if you are a superstitious person. Like that's just... They literally had it the worst it could have possibly been last year.
The worst it could have possibly been is an understatement. At one point they had 27 guys on IL throughout the course of a season. So on defense, and it was like the most important guys too. It wasn't just random people. It was all the corners. It was Aiden Hutchinson. It was Aleem McNeil, the 2 guys that you paid. Thank God Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph stayed healthy, but those were really the safety group was really the only position that did stay healthy. And ironically, that's probably the room with the least amount of depth heading into the season this year.
So what pick makes the Lions defense a better overall unit if a guy took a leap in Arnold or Campbell, if we're going with those 2 as the top 2 choices?
I think it's Terrion. If he can really show some flashes of like, whoa, there's a reason that this guy went in the first round. Like, and I hate the obvious thing.
Campbell went in the first round, you know?
Yeah, you're right. The obvious thing is like, well, how many interceptions did he have? Like, I don't really care about the interceptions, especially with how much the Lions are probably playing man coverage from this point forward and how much the Lions played man coverage last year. Terrion Arnold had more man coverage snaps than any corner in the NFL. You're just not going to get as many interceptions if you're playing that much man because you're not going to be able to jump balls and hawk them. That's kind of the safety's job when you're playing a man-to-man role like that, and that's why Kirby Joseph has benefited from that. But I look at opponent passer ratings, opponent completion percentage, what he's allowing guys to do after the catch, And he was a completely different player than he was in the first half of the season compared to the second half of the season. If he can take another leap forward like that, and you have, I struggle with the word shutdown corner, but like he is good enough to where DJ Reed is your cornerback too, then all of a sudden it's like, dude, this Lions secondary can't really throw on them, especially with Hutch coming at you.
Right.
I think it's terrible.
I just care about how much Arnold gets picked on next year, right? I mean, he was just the go-to guy to throw at on third down.
Oh, yes.
'Cause it's like, okay, he's probably going to get a penalty or a completion.
Yeah, Stafford and McVay, were like, who is this guy?
Yeah, they went at him, especially on third down. So if that immediately gets wiped out of the way, that's one of the, it's not a stat, but that's just something eye test-wise that you would really hope improves this season.
You want to know what I really wonder happens with Arnold? Similar, like watching the NBA Finals, it's like Alex Caruso basically fouls someone when he's defending every possession, but he establishes it so early on that you can't call it every single time down the court as a ref. So he just ends up being allowed to hand check people for the most part. I wonder if Terrion Arnold can figure out a way to use his leverage and his size and his strength at that cornerback position when he's got a 6'1", 6'2" frame, kind of big for a corner, pretty physical too. If he can start leveraging that, and now that he's not a rookie and has some more pedigree in the league, kind of knows where to be positionally, where he can establish a physical presence right from the jump and just kind of force the referees to be like, we can't call it every play.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of corners are already that way, though, right?
Mostly, yeah.
He just doesn't have the reputation yet.
Correct. He would get handsy. That's the thing. You got to be able to get physical without getting handsy, and he hasn't learned that yet in the NFL. He picked up on it last year. It's early. Yeah, it's still very early on. All right. Who is the best player in sports without a ring? That is next to your Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt. But before we go, I got to tell you, it is officially the summer months. It's finally felt like that this week here in June. Midland's go-to spot for all your gardening needs is Maple Hill Nursery. From vibrant flowers to shrubs to trees, seasonal plants, they've got what your garden needs to be at the top of its game. Expert advice from local growers who care about your success as much as you do. Quality plants, quality soil, and the tools to make your garden in your yard bloom. Stop by Maple Hill Nursery to get inspired and grow something beautiful this season. Find them right here in Midland, your garden's new best friend.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent located downtown Midland. There's a ton of different players that you can credit for this incredible Tigers 2025 season so far. We're nearly halfway through the MLB regular season, and they still hold the best record in all the major leagues. And a big reason why is you got major contributions from unexpected players this season, like a Zach McKinstry turning to a bench utility guy to an everyday guy in the lineup. Javier Baez moved out into the outfield a little bit. He is much improved from the last couple seasons in Detroit. Some guys in the pitching staff as well have taken unexpected leaps this year. But what if the guy that has really taken this unexpected leap is just now starting and is going to be the second half hero for the Tigers? And that's Wenzel Perez. An incredible game last night, a triple, a homer. He's done it on both sides of the plate since returning from the injured list and has once again given the Tigers a major piece of depth going forward in the outfield. There's no other bat like him in this Tigers lineup. The lone switch hitter on the entire roster, adds value on the base pads with his speed, and makes things easier with Matt Vierling still not back from injury, and Kerry Carpenter can continue to be the designated hitter with Perez playing out and right. So there's a lot of good candidates for the first half hero for the Tigers, but what if the second half hero is breaking out right in front of our eyes in Wenzel Perez? Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
Hey sports fans, heading up north? Whether you're gearing up for the big game, hosting friends, or winding down after a long day, Hops and Schnapps is your ultimate beverage destination. With one of the largest selections of beer, wine, and spirits in Michigan featuring over 1,000 options from around the globe, we're your beverage experts. Plus, our friendly team is here to help you find the perfect pick. Visit us in Standish, Grayling, and Gaylord today. Hops and Schnapps, raise your glass, raise your spirits.
Wackadoo! Bluey and her little sister Bingo are joining the Great Lakes Loons again this summer for Red, White, and Bluey Weekend presented by My Michigan How. It's 2 games of fun, laughter, and memories with our favorite Blue healer. Whether it's Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, don't miss out. For tickets, visit loons.com. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
At the Great Lakes Loons, our commitment to community goes beyond the ballpark. Through the Volunteer program, Loons staff and even players roll up their sleeves to serve the Great Lakes Bay region. From packing food boxes to reading in classrooms and even cleaning up local camps and parks, it's hands-on work that helps build a stronger, more connected community. Volunteer isn't just what we do, it's who we are. Because being part of this region means showing up when it counts. The Great Lakes Loons, serving the Great Lakes Bay region since 2007.
From Midland to Bay City, Saginaw to Sanford, from Frankenmuth, Greenland, and Hemlock to Auburn, Essexville, and Pinconning, 100.9 The Mitt is the heartbeat of the Great Lakes Bay region, and proud of it. We're your home for local sports, local stories, and local pride. Whether you're in Birch Run, Beaverton, Gladwin, Chesaning, or Coleman, football, basketball, hockey, Spartans, NFL, Loons, all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader. This is more than just a lineup. It's a daily ritual for the die-hard Michigan sports fans. At 6 a.m., Anthony Bellino wakes up the state with Spin on Sports.
I do not believe it.
At 9, the Ben Bosscher Show is appointment listening hosted here in the Great Lakes Bay region.
I would like to buy some Casey Mize stock.
America's Best takes over at noon. The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Well, what about Patrick Mahomes?
And at 3, Bill Simonson brings it home on The Huge Show. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt for the most passionate fans in Michigan.
Bel Air Brown, Dragon's Milk, Mad Hatter, Purple Gang, and Huma Loopalicious. These are names that let the imagination run wild and let the taste buds take a stroll. Welcome to the craft beer craze in Michigan. Bolstered by the Great Lakes and nurtured by the glacier-rich soil, here awaits a brewer's paradise. With fresh hops growing tall in the old Mission Peninsula and fresh barley fields sweeping the mitten, Michigan ranks 5th in the nation in the number of breweries, microbreweries, and brew pubs. From Good Harbor Golden to Whitefish Bay Wheat, from Motown Lager all the way to Park Bench Porter, Michigan is serving up a frosty glass of perfection. Whether you want to take in a game with a Two-Hearted Ale or just sit on a front porch sipping a Steelhead Red, let's tap into life at its fullest and treat ourselves to a taste that's pure Michigan. Your trip begins at Michigan.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Ooh, Kyle, I just thought of something. We were having the conversation earlier.
What was that?
Who is the best player? I got so excited to tell you this. We were having the conversation earlier. Who's the best player in sports without a ring? And the conversation we were having was basically between Connor McDavid, Aaron Judge, and we also threw out Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Right now, the poll on Twitter, 55% of the votes say Connor McDavid, 23% say Aaron Judge, Josh Allen 13, Lamar Jackson 8. I just thought of someone else though. That's why I got so excited. Like I thought of it. Yeah, I thought of it like 4 seconds after we came back, and I was like, "Ooh, dude, what if I nominated Caitlin Clark? She's only in year 2. That's
this is
why,
good.
That's why it doesn't really play. But at the same time, this person is well on track to being the best player in their sports history, and they don't have a ring. So I do think that there is a credible reason to say that Caitlin Clark is the best player in sports without a ring. And
right
she didn't
now,
get one in college either. That's the other part about it.
We're not counting college rings.
That's fine. We don't have to. I'm just saying she's up there. I don't think the answer is her. I think it's still McDavid. But I was scrolling through X during the commercial break, and just people are still talking about what happened yesterday with her, right? She dominates once again. It feels like she's knocking on the door pretty quickly of best player in the league. She's not quite there yet, but by the end of the year, totally plausible. And she gets under people's skin. I saw a video of her. She wasn't quite mic'd up, but you could read her lips. Someone goes, "You can't do that." I don't know what it was in reference to. I watched some of the game, not all of it. She looks at that person and goes, "I can do whatever I want." And it's just like, yes, this person has swagger. This person has what the kids
Aura,
call
you could
aura.
say.
She has the aura, and she knows it. There's a difference.
So
between,
that plays into this.
There's a
this
difference between being overconfident and having an ego that's delusional and just knowing you're that person. Caitlin Clark knows she is that person.
So she's her.
She is her. And it's not just about the shooting numbers. She is the best passer in the WNBA. She leads the league in assists. Like, people cannot guard this woman. And it has been so fantastic to watch. She ends up getting a pretty dirty hit after the play is well over. She gets body checked. And then her teammate, minutes later, Sophie Cunningham, just grabs one of the other players basically by the head and starts throwing her down and talking in the middle of it. She's so polarizing that I think she actually does have to be nominated for the best athlete in sports without a ring right now, even though she's only in year 2 and she's destined to get one eventually. But I just think in terms of popularity, oh yeah, she's number 1 for players without a ring.
Really?
Yeah. Caitlin Clark's more popular than Aaron Judge.
More popular than Josh Allen?
Yes. Caitlin Clark is way more famous than any of those people.
Josh Allen dates Haley Steinfeld, though. Like, you got to add that factor into it.
That's, you know what?
From a popularity standpoint.
I didn't think about that. You are right. No, you are right.
It's probably still Caitlin Clark.
I think it's still Caitlin Clark, man.
Everyone knows Caitlin Clark.
My mom knows Caitlin Clark. My mom does not know who Josh Allen is.
One of these days, we should do a ranking of just the most popular athletes.
Why can't we do that right now?
Well, yeah, I guess, but it's just off the top of our heads. Like,
LeBron is 1. Patrick Mahomes is 2. Caitlin Clark might be 3, dude. She
Steph
really
Curry.
might be. Steph Curry's probably 3. Caitlin Clark might be 4. It's not Giannis. Like, she's more popular than Giannis.
And we're doing it in America, by the way. So these soccer players that are like, oh, what about
Ronaldo? I don't care about
What about Mbappe?
I do like me some Mbappe. I think she has to be top 5 at least. I don't even know what quarterback would be second. Because I think the NFL
Aaron
world
Rodgers?
Yeah, it probably is Aaron Rodgers.
Just from a popularity standpoint is all I'm thinking about.
My mom definitely knows who Aaron Rodgers is. I don't think she knows who Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen is. Because that's the way I think about it sometimes.
This is a really good way to think about it. Yeah, like a family member of yours that doesn't watch sports.
Yeah, would they know about that?
Or just someone you know that doesn't watch sports.
Everyone knows who Aaron Rodgers is. Everyone knows who Caitlin Clark is.
I don't know if everyone knows who Aaron Rodgers is. People know Caitlin Clark more than Aaron Rodgers.
You think she's ahead of Aaron? I don't know. Aaron Rodgers has been around long enough to knows exactly who Aaron Rodgers was. He's won a Super Bowl.
I'm just looking up most popular athletes to give us a reference here.
What does the internet say?
Like, it's Messi, Neymar, Ronaldo, all these soccer players.
And it's probably based on Instagram followers.
Probably,
something like that. Do you agree LeBron's 1, though? The most popular, famous athlete in the world?
Probably. Just as far as, to me, popularity is how many people in the world know who this person is. Every single person and their mom and brother and grandma and stepsister and kid, they all know LeBron.
Yeah. I don't think you can say the same thing about Josh Allen or Lamar.
No.
But I do kind of think you can say
Serena
that about
Williams?
Caitlin Clark. Yeah, I think Caitlin Clark's more popular than Serena Williams.
Does Tiger Woods still count as active?
No.
Golf is a good way to go, though. A lot of people know Rory McIlroy.
Oh, come on. Rory doesn't compare to Caitlin Clark.
Yeah,
if we're just talking strict popularity, Caitlin Clark, top 5 for me. One of the most 5 popular athletes in the world. Because now they're doing stuff overseas and they're trying to get these WNBA
in
players.
America, not in the world.
Okay, if we are just talking America, I still think she's top 5. But back to the original conversation, I still do think it's Connor McDavid is the best player in sports without a ring.
Yes.
You like that for a transition? McDavid, you need a ring in the NHL to solidify your legacy. All the best players of all time have rings. This isn't like Major League Baseball where you can still be considered a first ballot Hall of Famer and one of the best players of all time like Barry Bonds, who never won a ring. That's why I don't think Aaron Judge is the person to choose here. The reason I don't think it's Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson is because they can at least say, well, we've had to deal with Patrick Mahomes, right? If they were in the NFC, They probably, one of those guys at least has been to a Super Bowl. If Mahomes doesn't exist, one of those guys has won at least one Super Bowl. But I still think those two quarterbacks are two of the 10 best quarterbacks in the history of the league, and that's why I wanted to throw them in this conversation. But Connor McDavid, he's on pace to be the second all-time point scorer. So I don't know how it couldn't be him. He's already won 3 MVPs. He's been in the league a decade at this point. He has to get a ring here. And to your point, like you credited earlier, feeling more and more unlikely. This was probably the best chance he was going to have, playing a team he was familiar with, and now the Leon Draisaitl extension kicks in. And now the Connor McDavid extension's all going to kick in. And now the Oilers are going to run out of money here in this salary cap sport. Whether or not they can get back for a third year now, you never know, but seems unlikely at this point. All right, we've got a lot to get to in the 10 o'clock hour. I want to have a conversation about Javy Baez and Javy Baez, because those are two separate people, one of which I trust, one of which I don't trust, but who shows up more often? It is the Ben Bosscher Show. Hour number 3 coming up right here on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Step right up to Lucky Hot Dog Night with the Great Lakes Loons, Thursday, June 19th. Feeling lucky? Golden tickets will be hidden in the wrappers of our hot dogs throughout the game. It's Thirsty Thursday, presented by J.P. O'Sullivan Distributing, with half-off beer all night. And we'll have a post-game fireworks loontacular presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. This isn't just baseball. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. Calling all royalty. Join the Great Lakes Loons for Princess Night, presented by High Country Jumpers, Saturday, June 21st. The Loons will take the field in magical Moana-inspired jerseys. Stick around after the game for a dazzling fireworks loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. It's a night fit for the whole family. Tickets are selling fast. Visit loons.com before they're gone. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. From the hometown heroes to the college legends to the pros on Sunday, 100.9 The Mitt is your home for wall-to-wall play-by-play coverage. High school football, basketball, and hockey.
Region champions for the first time in school history.
Michigan State football and basketball.
Touchdown, MSU!
The NFL, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night primetime games. And don't think we forgot about your hometown team. The Great Lakes Loons.
That ball's over and out of here.
100.9 The Mitt. You want sports takes? You want local voices that own the mic?
Yeah.
We've got them on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. It kicks off at 6 a.m. with Anthony Bellino on Spin on Sports.
Rise and shine.
From 9 to noon, don't miss Michigan's newest sports show, The Ben Bosscher Show.
Hey, remember that.
At noon, you get America's smartest sports takes, The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
I want Shador to play.
And at 3, the one and only Bill Simonson and The Huge Show. This is where real fans stay locked in. 100.9 The Mitt.
Let's pick out a good wine. Let's discover a new taste from a new place. Let's meet the people who handpick the grapes in places dedicated to the craft, in a land that only knows one way to grow things, rich and full. Welcome to Michigan, where the 4 seasons and 4 Great Lakes smile on the winemaker, where the quality of the wine is exceeded only by the warmth of the greeting waiting for us. And with more than 90 wineries, covering more than 13,000 acres, the harvest has never been better. So let's wander through lush vineyards, discover hidden treasures in vast cellars, and renew ourselves in comfortable tasting rooms. Let's all raise a glass. Let's gather our closest friends and become even closer. Because taking time to toast the beauty and bounty of life is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Hour number 3, Ben Bosscher Show. Javeer Baze, Javy Baez. I think those are two completely separate people. One of them I trust, one of them I don't trust. Javeer Baze being the one that I trust. And so far in June, it has been Javeer Baze that has showed up most of the time. A 340 average, a 937 OPS here in this month. The thing about Javeer Baze is he comes and goes. Yesterday, he was here for the most part. 3 at-bats. 3 hits. 2 home runs. And then Javy Baez showed up right at the end. 8th inning. 3-pitch count. 3-pitch at-bat. Strikeout. Chased on the second pitch. He showed up in the second inning, too, when he had a throwing error over to second base while trying to turn a double play. They're 2 completely different players. Javy Baez was that disaster of a person that we've seen the last couple of years for the Tigers. But the thing is, when runners are in scoring position, it's more often than not Javeer Baze is the one showing up. Because over his tenure with the Detroit Tigers, here are his batting averages with runners in scoring positions. 2022, 296. The next year, 312. The following year, 308. 327 so far this year with runners in scoring position. If push came to shove and Javy Baez was up to bat when the game was on the line in a playoff game, do you trust that Javeer Baze is going to show up? Or is this hold your breath, here's Javy Baez? This could go one of 2 ways. I think it's, for me right now, and maybe this is a little recency bias after the 2 home run game yesterday, I really think it's Javeer Baze that ends up showing up in that situation. He doesn't try to crush the ball. He just tries to put barrel on ball, and that actually leads to more power. When he's got an opportunity to punch some runs in, I think he changes his approach. And I've been on this for a long time. When he has a chance to help out the team, he usually does. When the bases are empty and there's nothing he can really do other than, like, Javy's always trying to score runs, for better or for worse. If nobody's on, he's going to try to hit a home run. If people are on third, he's just going to try to hit the gap. So if it came to a situation where, hey, Javy, bottom of the 9th, man, 2 outs to full count, series on the line, he's not the first person I would choose to be up at the plate. But I think I trust him a little bit more than I could have possibly imagined at the beginning of the season, Kyle. I think it'd be Javeer Baze who ended up showing up.
Here's something that we forgot to bring up in the opening segment. We talked about this. Javy Baez wasn't even on the playoff roster last year. So we didn't even get a chance to figure this out. And this was a guy that even in a poor year last season was still good with runners in scoring position. That's been one of the things that you've continued to bring up about Javy Baez. Like, even when he sucks in general, he still is good with guys on the base pads. So I'm starting to lean more with you because this version of him with this Tigers team is something, one, that we haven't seen, but 2, it's popping up more and more frequently. This isn't just a once every 2 months we get a big game. Now, I did lay out the stats between the last 2 home run game and this 2 home run game. A 602 OPS for Javy Baez.
Not good.
Not good. And I think he's lost a little bit of value with Parker Meadows coming back. Like, it was a cool story that it was like, man, he's pretty good in center field. Even if he's not that good of a hitter, like, at least he's filling in for us there. Now it's, you probably have Wenzel Perez out in center field before Javy Baez, just because he's more needed in the infield now. But I can't just forget about Javy Baez. That's the part that sucks here for me. I don't think there's a player that's more fun to watch when he has a game like this than Javy Baez on the whole Tigers team. When he has these 2 homer games, when he has these big defensive flashy plays, it is so much fun to watch because it brings back the flashes of El Mago in Chicago, of how cool of a player he once was when we see these flashes of him. But I can't forget about what he's been as a Tiger. And he's been Javy Baez much, much, much more than he's been Javeer Baze.
See what the people think. 989-837-6125. Solid contributor. Could not be happier for what he's done this season. You know, everyone seems to, and I don't even mean the fans, the players seem to love Javy Baez. Like, I see fans, like, we read that text from Chris, and it's like, yeah, I'm happy for Javy. You know who's more happy for Javy than anybody? Are his teammates. They, of course, love this guy. Like, I don't know if there's a single player in the Tigers organization or dugout that is more revered by his peers. Did I use that right? I think so. that is more respected by his peers than Javy Baez. They love this guy. No one can ever shut up about how great of a teammate Javy Baez is, which is so ironic watching him the last couple of seasons where it's like he's setting a bad example in the box. We're supposed to have this discipline, strike zone, which hasn't really been the Tigers' mantra this season at all. But he was such a bad example as to your approach at the plate. But they all seem to love this guy. There's celebration yesterday before and after the game of his 10-year anniversary of being in the league, 10 years of service time. Jake Rogers apparently did some helium and was asking him some questions, like an interview. There's some audio of that floating around on Twitter. So, like, they like Javy, right? Everyone enjoys Javy Baez's presence. So the fact that he's turning it around, I think his teammates more than anything are thrilled for him.
He's also everyone's favorite player. I would be willing to bet that there are more Javy Baez jerseys than any other Tiger.
Really?
More than a Torkelson, more than a Skubal, more than a Riley Green. I would think there's more Javy Baez jerseys floating around out there than any other player. Everybody loves him. Teammates, fans, across the league, like everybody loves Javy Baez. So when he plays good, it maximizes by 10.
I would be shocked if there was more Javy Baez jerseys than Riley Green jerseys.
I would totally think that there's more Torkelson jerseys even than Riley Green jerseys.
Really?
Javy Baez is one.
I feel like I see more Riley Green jerseys than everything. That's kind of to me like, no, like, you can't just throw around Mr. Tiger because that nickname's pretty sacred. But like, if there was one person who's like kind of just embodies what it takes, there's never been a doubt in a person. We've always kind of believed in him. No one's wavered from it. Has consistently shown. That's Riley Green to me. I feel like I see more of his jersey than anything.
But it's Javy Baez that everyone loves. Like, everyone is a huge fan of Javy Baez. Just the way that he plays. Even when he sucks, people have his jersey.
He plays the game with joy, right? I think everyone on the Tigers
and he's fun
does
to
that.
watch when he's doing good. Like, super fun to watch. We saw it in last night's game.
Yeah. The stuff in the infield can be very fun.
You got the true Javy Baez experience in yesterday's game.
100%.
Highs and lows.
100%. Got another text that says he's regaining confidence for me this season. 100%. Someone said as long as he stays off the tequila like Miguel. Come on. Out of pocket comment. Out of pocket text. We support Miguel Cabrera at all times on this show. We do not say bad things about Miguel Cabrera on this show.
Even though I literally did earlier.
No, you didn't say anything bad about him. You just said
right.
Aaron Judge has surpassed him as the best hitter we've ever seen, you and I. Which is true, as much as it pains me to say. I think I held on to the Miguel Cabrera argument for longer than most people should have, longer than the rational fans should have. But
and I'm not even going to be upset if you still feel that way, just because how much I love Miggy.
I'm not going to be upset, but you're just wrong at this point. What Aaron Judge is doing this year is ungodly, dude. It's not right. Because the thing that I always held on to Miguel,
right.
The thing that I always like made the argument for Miguel was like, dude, at the peak of his powers, like he was leading the league in home runs and hitting 350, like leading the league in average too. You couldn't throw him anywhere. He just look at his spray chart. He left field, right field, center field, all the exact same. Like it's not like he pulled or did anything. Like there was no rhyme or reason. He made contact and it was gone no matter what direction it was. That's why I always made the argument. But now it's like Judge is hitting 1,000 OPS, both sides, not both sides of the plate, but both left-handed, right-handed pitching, and has a 377 average. And that's in a cold slump right now. It makes zero sense to me how good this guy is at baseball.
Yeah, and you guess what his on-base percentage is this year?
450?
470.
You just can't throw this guy strikes, dude. It's
you can't get him out.
No.
And like you said, he's in a slump right now. He was batting like 380, 390 2 weeks ago.
There was a real FanDuel prop that was like, generic sportsbook prop. That was like, will he finish over 400 by the break? Like the fact that that's even a prop.
Yeah, that's just dumb if you bet on that too.
Super dumb. Super, super dumb. 989-837-6125. Look, if you're looking to move in the Great Lakes Bay region, you got to call Matt Smith of Modern Realty. Redefining real estate with a fresh, modern approach. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, Matt Smith delivers personalized service tailored to you. Cutting-edge marketing, local expertise, and a commitment to making your real estate experience as smooth as possible, because I know moving can be one of the most stressful things in a person's life. From cozy starter homes to luxury properties, they know how to find the perfect fit for you. Trust the team that combines innovation with the real-world know-how. That is Matt Smith, Modern Realty. When we come back, we'll take a trip and do the news. It is the Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Loons back at Dow Diamond for back-to-back weeks, starting a 6-game set with Peoria this week, finishing up the first half of the season before the second half starts on Friday. And last night, an offensive battle, game going back and forth with the Loons getting on the board first, Peoria leading the way throughout the middle part of the game. But in the bottom of the 8th inning, it was Carlos Rojas who drove in 2 runs to put Great Lakes back on top.
The 1-1. Rojas swings, chopper up the middle. That will sneak through. Nevin scores. Vetrano hits third. Honeyman will scoop, but no throw to make. Right up the gut. And Rojas puts 2 on the board. Great Lakes takes the lead here in the 8th. It's 8-7.
Cam Day would close things out in the 9th as the Loons defeated the Chiefs 8-7 in Game 1 of this 6-game set. Game 2 right back here at Dow Diamond, 7:05 first pitch tonight. Pre-game coverage starting at 6:50, 100.9 The Mitt.
I'm Sarah Stockford, host of 100.9 The Mitt Success Suite, a podcast highlighting the most inspiring female leaders across the Great Lakes Bay region. This month, we spoke with Mary Draves, former Dow executive and leader in the Midland community.
I think as we get a little bit older, we start to care less about what other people think. That's really a great point, yeah. And so as I've gotten older, I think I've become way more comfortable in who I am and what I stand for. And, you know, when you get to that point, all of a sudden, you know, you become less apologetic about who you are. You also, you know, you're like, hey, this is me, I'm cool with it. Yeah. And I think in my 20s versus maybe I'm in my 50s now, it's a very different person. And that's just really part of the continuum of growth.
Listen to the full interview with Mary on 100.9 The Mitt's YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notification button to be alerted when new episodes drop. That's Success Suite with Sarah Stockford.
For 100 years, Forward Energy has been more than just a home heat and fuel provider. We've been a part of your community, and you've been a part of our family through every storm, every season, and every moment. We've been right here, keeping you warm and safe. As your hometown energy provider, we deliver more than just propane. We deliver peace of mind with reliable service, quality you can count on, and a commitment to always being there when you need us most. Forward Energy, 100 years strong, fueled by family, powered by community.
From Midland to Bay City, Saginaw to Sanford, from Frankenmuth, Greenland, and Hemlock to Auburn, Essexville, and Pinconning, 100.9 The Mitt is the heartbeat of the Great Lakes Bay region and proud of it. We're your home for local sports, local stories, and local pride. Whether you're in Birch Run, Beaverton, Gladwin, Chesapeake, or Coleman, football, basketball, hockey, Spartans, NFL, Loons, all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back in, Ben Bosscher Show, right here on 100.9 The Mitt. Let's hit the news here in the 11 o'clock hour.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
All right, Ben, we have some news here that is broke. I wouldn't really call this breaking news, but it's happened since we did the first news segment. So I got to break it to you because it's kind of funny. So the Jets have waived Anders Carlson. That's not the big news here because Adam Schefter, the way that he quotes this tweet, is the guy that they've signed to bring in their kicker. Harrison Mevis, his nickname is the Thicker Kicker. And he even put thick with 2 C's.
No, he didn't. Adam Schefter just did this?
Oh, no, sorry. Rappaport retweeted it.
Oh, Rappaport. He's usually down-to-earth guy.
Yes.
Wait, hold on. I want to see
But it was Tom
this.
Peliciero who tweeted it, retweeted by Rappaport.
The Pellraiser.
The Thicker Kicker.
What's
but
this
Anders
guy's
Carlson
name?
done. Harrison Mevis? He played for the Birmingham Stallions in the UFL.
I was about to say, is this the guy that I saw with the clips yesterday? And yeah, it is. This dude's enormous. Enormous.
Yeah, he's huge.
Hold on. Hold that thought. I need this guy's height and weight because it genuinely looked like a comedy seeing the clip of him punting.
The fact that they put thicker kicker with 2 C's, that means something.
He's 5'11", 240, man. He's a unit.
Yeah, they need to get this guy playing fullback.
Do you remember this guy from Missouri?
Blocking for Justin Fields.
I feel like I totally remember this from Missouri. Now that I'm seeing pictures of it, this just giant kicker back in he played.
I really don't remember.
Mizzou.
Interesting. All right, let's get to some stuff that we missed in the first news segment. Some college football playoff talk. I know we all love that.
I love that.
Illinois coach Brett Bielema wants to see the college football playoff expand to 16 teams, as it's been talking about. But he says the SEC should be forced to play 9 league games per season like the Big Ten.
That I agree with. The 16-team thing is so dumb. Because
it sounds like it's going to happen.
It is going to happen, and there's going to be 4 automatic bids for the Big Ten, 4 automatic bids for the SEC, and then I'm sure they'll take up another 4 bids between the both of them. But then there'll be a play-in for 12 or for 13, 14, 15, 16. Those teams will have like basically a play-in, like the NBA tournament or like the NBA beginning of the playoffs, to get into the 12-team playoff. So then the playoffs can actually start. So the first 4 seeds would get a double bye. They wouldn't play for like 6 weeks, basically.
Too much football.
I don't like the idea of the 16-team playoff. The exact same reason I didn't like the idea of pushing it to 12 games. Now, it's 12 games. I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. It was fine last year. Can 12 teams actually win a national championship, though? Nope. So why on earth would we move it to 16 if we don't actually think there are 16 teams good enough to win a national championship? When they moved it from 4 to 12, it was the first time ever where someone truly got snubbed from the playoffs in Florida State, and you could have made the argument for Georgia. It felt like there was actually more than 4 teams that could have won a national championship. Because for the first decade of the 4-team playoffs, it was like one of these teams was usually given an opportunity to make the playoffs, and you just knew you were getting your ass beat. Michigan State
I would say
there
was never even
Notre
4
Dame
teams.
comes to mind. There was
Cincinnati.
never Cincinnati, TCU,
Washington,
even though TCU won. There was never a situation where one of those teams, like, there was always one team that was like, you have no chance of beating Bama or Georgia this year.
Yes.
And then they were like, let's add another 7 teams to the playoffs, or let's add another 8 teams to the playoffs. I wanted it to go to 8 because I want the playoff games to feel real. I want the playoff games to feel like every team has a shot to win the national championship, and I want the regular season to matter. The more teams you add to the college football playoffs, the more, like, mass amount of games will matter, because it's like, hey, this game will have playoff implications. Hey, this game will have playoff implications. But the regular season itself will be devalued. Like the Michigan-Ohio State game, for the most part, doesn't matter anymore. Both teams probably just going to make the playoffs if it's 16 teams. That's why I don't like it. Sorry.
And they could just play again in the Big Ten championship game, so it's like less importance. I agree.
But I do agree 9 teams, like all conferences should have the same number of conference games.
Yes, totally agree. I was never against the 4-team playoff. I wasn't mad when they moved it, but I mean, the whole point of the playoff is to get the best champion, like to make the best team win the title. And this has gone against that. So it's interesting.
Like we saw how bad an Indiana was. Why are we adding more Indianas to the playoffs?
Exactly. All right, Panthers, they won the Stanley Cup. Back-to-back rings for Florida. Sam Bennett winning the Conn Smythe Trophy. Oilers, back-to-back seasons, losing the Stanley Cup Finals.
I feel like we've spent enough time on it.
Yeah, I would agree. We got NBA Finals potentially wrapping up tomorrow night, but the news is that Tyrese Halliburton confirmed a calf strain, going under MRI to determine the severity of the strain. I would be shocked if he missed Game 6. I don't think it matters either way because he's still banged up. It is back in Indy, though, for Game 6.
The worst thing you can possibly ask for is he's like, I refuse to sit. I'm playing through this. And this calf strain turns into an Achilles
Affects
issue.
next season, yes.
And then he's out for next year, basically.
Would be terrible.
It's also tough to justify, like, yeah, we're just kind of waving the towel without our best player here. I have a hard time, like, if I'm an Indiana fan or on that coaching staff, like, it's just a tough thing to do. But you got to look out for your player here. And I think this series, even if Tyrese Halliburton is playing, it's probably done.
I would agree. I think so. I think if Tyrese Halliburton's healthy.
So much respect to the Pacers, though. I hope this team is not forgotten. If this is their only finals appearance, one of my favorite runs to the finals that a team has
one of
had
the
in
more
a
random
long time.
finals runs in some time.
It's random, like, it's random if you would have told me it would have happened like 6 months ago, but in hindsight, it's not that random. You know?
No. But it's still random.
Yeah,
nonetheless.
You're right.
They don't have a superstar.
You don't think Tyrese is a superstar?
I don't think so. He's a star. He's not a superstar.
How would you define superstar then?
I just don't like throwing that around. I think there's like 5 or 6 superstars in the league.
Do the Tigers have a superstar?
No. Well, they have Skubal, yes. They don't have a superstar bat. No.
I don't think my mom knows who Tarek Skubal is. Therefore, not a superstar.
Okay, so we're doing the popularity thing again.
Yeah, for you to be a superstar, my mom has to know who you are.
So Shea, who just won the MVP and going to win Finals MVP, not a superstar.
Yeah, my
no
mom
way
has,
your mom knows.
My mom
who that
has
is.
no idea who that is.
Of course. Let's move on from this because she doesn't know Jokic or Giannis either.
No, she might know Giannis. Is that the guy with the funny name?
Right.
Yes, Mom.
Yes, of course. Speaking of Skubal, it's a Scoob bump day today. Tigers Pirates game 2, 6:40 lefty matchup. Derek Skubal versus Andrew Heaney, who's also been pretty good for the Pirates this year.
Yeah. Scoob
Tigers
bump day.
cursed in
Always
game
good.
2s, man. Got to bounce back today.
I think they will.
And they just missed the day from skiing Skubal.
With Skubal on the mound feels like a perfect chance to bounce back.
Seems like they almost set it up that way. And the big news for the Tigers, positive news, Will Vest avoiding an IL stint after that little bit of a scare with the wild pitch on Sunday against the Reds. He's going to be all good. And their move after signing Carlos Hernandez was sending Tyler Adams down to AAA. So, Tyler Owens, excuse me.
Tyler Owens. I was about to say, I don't know if I know who that is.
He didn't really pitch very much.
No, not that much at all. Okay. Anything else?
That's it. I mean, the Noah Lyles, Tyreek Hill thing, but who cares?
I was scrolling on NFL.com as I normally do. And that was like their big headline of yesterday. I was like, man, this is a tough stretch for the NFL until training camp really starts.
Not a
back
lot
up.
going on.
It's the last time that there's nothing really going on, though. That's the good part. Because once training camp starts up here in, we just got the announcement yesterday that the first day that media or that fans can attend is June 20th. So we're about a month away. We're less than a month away from training camp. Once that starts,
oh yeah,
we are locked into football for the next 7 months with no off days.
But it makes today guessing Colin's Open so hard.
That is how we'll close the show. We've still got one more conversation to get to here on the Ben Bosscher Show, so I want you to stay tuned for that. The Midland Area Community Foundation, let me tell you about it, man, because they do some great stuff here in the Great Lakes Bay region. They're dedicated to strengthening our community through generosity and connection, supporting local nonprofits, scholarships, and projects that make Midland just a better place to live, work, and play. Your donations help fund vital programs in education, health, the arts, and more right here at home. Partner with the foundation to leave a lasting legacy and create positive change for generations to come. Get involved, give back, or learn more at midlandareacf.org. Together we build a stronger Midland, one gift, one idea, and one heart at a time. Alex Bregman, is he going to be a Tiger? That's next here on The Ben Bosscher Show.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
At Tommy's Express, you can get your car clean, shiny and dry in just minutes. Our state-of-the-art eco-friendly wash delivers a spotless finish every time. With the Tommy Club app, enjoy unlimited washes or paper wash. Skip the line with license plate recognition and manage everything right from your phone. Fast, clean, and simple. Visit Tommy's Express today and see the difference. Text Clean Card to 86697 for a free works wash.
Offer valid for new guests only. By participating, you consent to receive promotional information text from Tommy's Express. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies.
Tired of floors that snore? Walls that whisper, meh. Premier Tile in Midland is here to spice things up one tile at a time. They've got backsplash that'll make your pasta jealous.
What?
Shower walls that'll actually sing in the morning. And floors so fabulous, you'll consider eating dinner off them. Stylish, affordable, slightly obsessed with grout. Visit Premier Tile, located between Stark and Sturgeon, right off US 10, or at premiertilestone.com.
Get ready, Michigan. Field of Frames Fest presented by Dow is taking over Dow Diamond September 26th through 28th. It's the ultimate celebration of gaming, esports, and community, bringing together fans, families, players, and industry pros for a 3-day festival like no other. Watch elite teams battle in high-stakes competition, the Valorant Collegiate Invitational and Rocket League Semi-Pro Showdown, each with $10,000 prize pools, a $5,000 Super Smash Bros. Open Tournament, and a 17U Fortnite Youth Tournament with $1,000 up for grabs. There's live music, entertainment, and activities for all ages, plus educational panels and hands-on workshops for those interested in tech, business, and gaming industries. Tickets start at just $25, and kids 10 and under get in free. Don't miss your chance to be part of a landmark event. Visit fieldofFramesFest.com to grab your tickets today. Field of Frames. Experience the element of gaming.
Calling all royalty. Join the Great Lakes Loons for Princess Night, presented by High Country Jumpers. Saturday, June 21st. The Loons will take the field in magical Moana-inspired jerseys. Stick around after the game for a dazzling fireworks loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. It's a night fit for the whole family. Tickets are selling fast. Visit loons.com before they're gone. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
Hey, I'm Ben Bosscher.
And I'm Kyle Sandel.
And the two of us are live every weekday on 100.9 The Mitt at 9 a.m. until noon, giving you opinions on the teams that you care about the most.
The Lions, Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons, those teams.
And a whole lot more. Whether we're breaking down a game from the night before, debating the biggest news from the day, or doing a draft or spread picks, we're always having fun. I mean, come on, it's our job to talk about sports. How could we not be having fun?
So if the big games aren't enough for you, if you're a real diehard fan, this show is going to be perfect for you. You can count on us to be your morning sports outlet every day.
The Ben Bosscher Show with Ben Bosscher and Kyle Sandel on 100.9 The Mitt.
Can you go anywhere and find an endeavor in society where we've come to accept and tolerate an adult, and even kids, treating another adult the way we allow spectators, coaches, and players to treat a high school game official? Can you? No one has the right to abuse game officials. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
The love of the game draws us to sports, as players, coaches, spectators, and officials. For officials, it's a way to stay in the game they once played, to feel the thrill of putting on the uniform, stepping out of the playing surface, hustling to make the call, and building the relationships which can only be built in sports. If you still have that love for the game, we always need new officials. Register now at MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, welcome back in. Ben Bosscher Show, hour number 3. We're staying cruising here on the Ben Bosscher Show. We'll do our two traditions to close out every show at the end. Real quick, just some housekeeping. If you're watching on YouTube and haven't subscribed yet, please do. We're still working towards our goal to get to by the end of the week. So if you have tuned in, I think we might have hit our record for most amount of people in the stream at once today. So that was pretty cool. Go ahead and give us a like and a subscription, and that would be fantastic. In the meantime, we circled on this in the top of the 10 o'clock hour, but I want to come back to it. If the Red Sox decide to blow this thing up, which they would not do if the trade deadline was tomorrow, let's be very, very clear about that. But they're missing their two best hitters really right now. In Devers, who's, well, not on their team anymore. Which also, by the way, I think was just a total win-win for both teams to go down a little side rabbit hole here for a second. For the Giants, you get a guy who's actually happy to be playing multiple positions. He talked about that in his opening press conference. He'll play wherever, happy to, good communication, excited, fresh young player with one of the best OPSs in baseball. And if you're Boston, you probably didn't get enough in return. You definitely didn't get enough in return for a guy who's in the middle of his prime, but you got off that salary. It allows you to make other corresponding moves here in the offseason. And you got rid of the guy who was just kind of a toxic person to have around in the clubhouse. That relationship had been ruined, and I don't think there was any point in return for it. I think it was ultimately a win-win for both
I can't
sides.
say it's a win-win until I see what Boston does with the money.
That's totally
because there's
fair,
just
too.
no way that you shopped Rafi Devers.
That's fair. I think it was an urgent, you had to get rid of him, though, because he was just, I mean, their GM kind of talked about it. Like, he had some regrets. He wished he could have handled things differently, and I thought that was pretty mature of him to say, like, yeah, like, I need to look myself in the mirror and make sure that doesn't happen again with me and a player, to the point where the relationship gets that
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's the
middle of
Red
it.
Sox fault that this happened. They brought in Alex Bregman without discussing it with their franchise player first.
Yeah, Devers could have been handled it a little better, I think, but
for sure. But
I
started
think it
with
got
the Red
to the point
Sox.
where he was rubbing people the wrong way, obviously in the organization, and they didn't want that to wear off in the clubhouse, which it was starting to. So they had to get rid of him as fast as possible. I thought it was a win-win for both trades, or for both parties. But I think Boston probably should have got a little bit more in return.
Yeah,
for a
you
guy in
should
the
have
middle of his
gotten
prime.
some prospects, like some highly touted prospects.
They didn't get one guy in the top 100. That's crazy.
They didn't get a top 5 guy from the Giants org.
Yeah, that to me is the crazy part. Giants win the trade, but it needed to happen on behalf of Boston.
Most teams that are willing to pay the money would be willing to give up 2 top 5 guys for him. I mean, that is your franchise bat for the next 8 seasons.
Yeah.
That's just your best player.
Mm-hmm. And then I reminded myself of the contract Vlad Guerrero got, the $500 million one. It's like, oh my God.
Yes.
I feel way worse about that contract than I would the Devers contract.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But anyway, to the Tigers' point a bit, if they do start slipping, because Bregman's still in IL right now, and they obviously just lost Devers. Right now they're looking together. They're just scrapping together wins. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games. But if they were to fall off a cliff here for the next 40 days, up until the trade deadline, and they do decide to sell Bregman, who's an expiring contract, that would be the reason to do it. Get something for him now. If you're the Tigers, do you make this call? Are you interested in this? Because I know a lot of Tigers fans kind of have the middle finger mentality towards Alex Bregman. They flirted with each other throughout the entire course of the offseason, but when it came time to actually ask someone to the dance, Alex Bregman decided to go with someone else, and that was with Boston. And they gave him the better deal. Detroit gave him more guaranteed years. Detroit gave him more guaranteed money. But I think what's pretty apparent what Alex Bregman wanted was this opt-out clause after his first season in Boston, to where he has the chance to get out of the contract and secure another life-altering bag. Because I wouldn't say the bag he got was, don't get me wrong, it's life-altering, but he has a chance to opt out and really get himself one of the best contracts in baseball after this season. If he's going to opt out, and Boston knows they're not going to make the playoffs come the trade deadline on July 31st, I think the Tigers should be willing to take this call and take the risk that maybe he doesn't re-sign. But you know what? Damn it if we didn't try. We have to, and when I say we, I mean if I'm in the Tigers organization, like, you got to at least put together the best roster possible. You got to field the best roster you can. And if you can add a guy that you tried to add this past offseason, who is a perfect fit by all accounts, what's the position you needed to help out with the most? Third base. You're dead last in outs above average right now defensively at that position. What do you need the most offensively? Another right-handed bat. You need a superstar. Maybe he's not a superstar, but he's certainly the best bat on the team if you were to add him. 100 points better on an OPS standpoint than anyone on the Tigers right now. He's your best player upon arrival. This is the guy you dreamed of this offseason. If you've got a chance to land him at the deadline, this is to me a no-brainer. And anyone who's like, oh, we don't need him. He didn't want to be here. We only want guys that want to be in Detroit. That's talking like someone or a franchise that's won 4 titles in the past 15 years. You're chasing a World Series. You got to put that stuff aside. If you can add a player to help win a World Series, that would be the best player on the team, that you also loved this offseason, you have to do it. A lot of ifs involved.
I would obviously
here.
be interested. Most Tigers fans would be interested. But when you think about what the Tigers are going to do at the deadline, it's not going to be 2 huge moves, right? That's why I brought this up earlier. I think one big move happens and maybe a couple of things around the edges. But if there is something big that's going to happen, it's one big thing. And I feel like they just have needs elsewhere that are less risky and come with less dollar signs than Alex Bregman, or the potential of giving him those dollar signs. Not saying that I wouldn't want him to.
I don't think in dollar signs, man. I think in rings. This is how you win rings.
But is that their biggest need?
No.
With Matt Vierling coming back, with Wenzel Perez being who he is, with Zach McKinstry and Javier Baez being who they are, Colt Keith potentially moving to third base.
Colt Keith.
Like at the end of the day, I don't know if they need to add anybody in this lineup.
Matt Vierling coming back and Colt Keith going to third base is not a good enough reason to not go after Alex Bregman.
I mean, why not? They're the best team in baseball still.
Why not?
Without Matt Vierling.
Because you can become. This is like the equivalent of the Lions fans that were like, "Why would we trade for an edge rusher?" Because you can add another one and be
What unit
even
are you
better.
more confident in? Their lineup or the starting rotation? Right now. Or going forward. Whichever, I guess.
The starting rotation.
You know it's the starting rotation that you're less confident in.
Nah, depends what Reese Olson looks like when he comes back.
Okay, what does Reese Olson look like right now? Big old question mark.
He's on IL.
Exactly. So was Alex Bregman.
That's correct.
Look, all I'm saying is there's a lot more question marks right now in the rotation and the bullpen for the Tigers. Obviously, every Tigers fan and their mom would love to have Alex Bregman on the team. He'd be the best player they could acquire at the deadline, for sure, to your point. But it might not be the biggest need. It's definitely not the biggest need at the moment. And I think their offense can subside without him. I mean, we have 30 days or 40 days to figure that out, but I think getting that elite high leverage closer or adding someone that can help out with Skubal, because Flaherty and Mize still haven't established, who the second best starter on this team even is. You can establish that via trade. I prefer going that realm.
So if you had the choice, and these are 2 guys that we've laid out here over the past week, Sandy Alcantara or Alex Bregman, you'd rather go Sandy Alcantara.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really love the Sandy trade, if I'm being honest. But if for this sake of yes, I will say that.
I do. You don't think Chris Fetter could fix this guy up, and his numbers could just basically
I think he could.
skyrocket
I just think
from that
it's
point
risky.
forward?
That's the part about the Bregman thing that I think is risky too, because Sandy's contract isn't something you necessarily want to sign up for if you can improve him.
No, he's got a few years left. But again, I guess I just don't understand why fans are worried about
I don't think Bregman and the Tigers have a bad relationship. That's for sure. If that's the route that fans are taking.
No, that's not even in terms of paying the Sandy deal. It's it's Chris Ilitch's money. I guess I'll just never understand. Detroit's not a small market team. They shouldn't be treated.
Neither's Miami.
What do you mean?
Miami's not a small market by any means.
I see what you mean.
They spend the least.
Yeah. But Detroit, they can be a spending team, and I guess it's my own personal issue that it gets me this upset when people are like, well, the Tigers can't afford to do that. It's well, we've seen in the last 15 years even that they can afford to do it, that they choose not to anymore. And maybe I'm just being unrealistic and the owner will never be spending that way again. I don't know. I get myself worked up about it.
If this route wins them a World Series, then this route worked better than paying everybody a bunch. Because that route didn't win them a World Series,
There has to be a middle ground to where you do what you're doing right now and also spending a little bit more money.
I mean, they are in the middle ground in terms of payroll. It's like they don't spend at all.
But the last decade suggests you have to spend a little bit more to win a World Series.
Right, but think about the contracts they have given out, though, in the last couple of years. Like, it hasn't necessarily worked out in their favor.
Well, the Javy
Baez.
He seems to be working out great right now.
Eduardo Rodriguez, like, he was fine. A big-time contract. And Colt Keith, not saying it's a bad contract by any means, but the one young guy they chose to lock up early is behind the other guys they could have done it for.
Oh, definitely. The Alex Cobb contract is crazy.
Kenta Maeda.
Crazy.
Like, they really have not hit on any of these contracts that they've given people.
No, not at all.
So what makes them think, okay, let's go give out a bigger one to another guy? You know, it's just kind of, I kind of understand it.
Choose the right people, I guess.
Right, that's much easier said than done.
Well, they haven't done a very good job of that at all since this group has taken over. 989-837-6125. We've got two traditions that we have to close out every single show here on the Ben Bosscher Show. And we'll get to those next year on the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent located downtown Midland. There's a ton of different players that you can credit for this incredible Tigers 2025 season so far. We're nearly halfway through the MLB regular season, and they still hold the best record in all the major leagues. And a big reason why is you got major contributions from unexpected players this season, like a Zach McKinstry turning to a bench utility guy to an everyday guy in the lineup. Javy Baez moved out into the outfield a little bit. He is much improved from the last couple seasons in Detroit. Some guys in the pitching staff as well have taken unexpected leaps this year. But what if the guy that has really taken this unexpected leap is just now starting and is going to be the second half hero for the Tigers? And that's Wenzel Perez. An incredible game last night, a triple, a homer. He's done it on both sides of the plate since returning from the injured list and has once again given the Tigers a major piece of depth going forward in the outfield. There's no other bat like him in this Tigers lineup. The lone switch hitter on the entire roster, adds value on the base pads with his speed, and makes things easier with Matt Vierling still not back from injury, and Kerry Carpenter can continue to be the designated hitter with Perez playing out in right. So there's a lot of good candidates for the first half hero for the Tigers, but what if the second half hero is breaking out right in front of our eyes in Wenzel Perez? Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
I'm Kevin Spencer, your Midland Edward Jones financial advisor. We're all about financial investments, but we also value the investments of time, patience, and encouragement our young athletes receive from their coaches, teachers, and mentors. That's why Edward Jones is a proud supporter of high school sports in the Great Lakes Bay region.
Call Kevin Spencer, your local Edward Jones financial advisor in Midland, 989-832-8428, or visit edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Aird & Garcia Insurance Group, they understand not everyone's insurance needs are the same. That's why they're dedicated to working with our clients to provide an insurance plan that's specific to you.
Whether you need life, home, auto, business, and farm, with their team's extensive knowledge and over 100 years combined experience, you can guarantee they work hard to put you in the best insurance position.
The experience matters. Aird & Garcia Insurance Group. Farm Bureau Insurance.
Step right up to Lucky Hot Dog Night with the Great Lakes Loons, Thursday, June 19th. Feeling lucky? Golden tickets will be hidden in the wrappers of our hot dogs throughout the game. It's Thirsty Thursday, presented by J.P. O'Sullivan Distributing, with half-off beer all night. And we'll have a post-game fireworks loontacular presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. This isn't just baseball. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. From the hometown heroes to the college legends to the pros on Sunday, 100.9 The Mitt is your home for wall-to-wall play-by-play coverage. High school football, basketball, and hockey.
Region champions for the first time in school history.
Michigan State football and basketball.
Touchdown, MSU!
The NFL, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night primetime games. And don't think we forgot about your hometown team. The Great Lakes Loons.
That ball's over and out of here.
100.9 The Mitt. From Midland to Bay City, Saginaw to Sanford, From Frankenmuth, Breland, and Hemlock to Auburn, Essexville, and Pinconning, 100.9 The Mitt is the heartbeat of the Great Lakes Bay region and proud of it. We're your home for local sports, local stories, and local pride. Whether you're in Birch Run, Beaverton, Gladwin, Chesapeake, or Coleman, football, basketball, hockey, Spartans, NFL, Loons, all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader. You want sports takes? You want local voices that own the mic? Yeah. We've got it. On Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. It kicks off at 6 a.m. with Anthony Bellino on Spin on Sports.
Rise and shine.
From 9 to noon, don't miss Michigan's newest sports show, The Ben Bosscher Show.
Hey, remember that.
At noon, you get America's smartest sports takes, The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
I want Shador to play.
And at 3, the one and only Bill Simonson and The Huge Show. This is where real fans stay locked in. 100.9 The Mitt.
Timeout. All right. Remember, we're a team that plays together. Listen, the winning will take care of itself. We just have to get everyone involved.
In interscholastic sports, we celebrate what makes every one of us unique. And in the pursuit of a common goal, everyone in the huddle, in the bleachers, and in the community comes together. This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Two traditions to close out every single show, the first of them being our Lock of the Day.
Lock of the Day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right, what's the update after last night's hit? Zach McKinstry with a single, with a hit, ends up doing what for the good old Lock of the Day Excel sheet?
Yeah, hitting the first at bat as well. It was a risky play. I will say, I didn't love it.
No. It's called the Lock of the Day for a reason, Kyle. It wasn't risky at all.
Well, you would hit it every day then.
I felt great about that one.
So you're even on the week, 1-1 picks-wise, but even odds-wise, you're even because you just took an L on day one, and then the McKinstry single odds were plus 100. So you're even on the week. All time, though, you're back up to where you were at the start of the week. You're up 1.68 units.
Not bad.
So if you've been tailing Ben every day, you would be up still. And no McDavid bets to happen anymore. Those are gone.
Thank God.
Thank sure
gone. Yeah.
6-6 all time record wise as well. So a chance to get back up above 500.
I didn't know what
For
direction
the
to go
first time
today.
since the third show.
I don't care about the record as much as I do.
I mean, you want to be positive on everything, though, right?
I want to be positive on everything, but as long as I'm up units,
right?
That's what really matters here.
Of course.
So I didn't know what direction to go today. I was like, do I go WNBA? I was like, I don't really want to bet on WNBA if Caitlin Clark's not playing. Do I go NBA Finals? Nope, not even on today. There's no hockey on. Am I really going to do a soccer bet? The answer is no. Back to baseball. I wanted to do something with Tarek Skubal, but the odds on him to do anything are just not in your favor. For you to get plus odds on any sort of strikeouts thing, he's got to have 9 of them. It's ridiculous.
You doubting my boy Cy Scoobs?
I'm not doubting the boy Cy Scoobs, but he could have an epic 8 strikeout performance, 0 walks, goes 7 innings, and still doesn't hit his over.
You could almost say he's due, though,
for
face
a
off
crazy
of his last
game?
start. Like with the Ks, he had what, like 4 Ks last game?
I just want to stay away from it.
Yeah, it's fair.
I can enjoy a Skubal start without having anything on the line. So this might be my riskiest play so far, but it's definitely not the longest odds. The longest odds bet that we had still belongs to the Tigers' first inning money line. And that was our very first lock of the day. It's the reason we're up 1.6 units, even with an under 500 record. Kyle, today, we've talked about him a good amount. I'm going Aaron Judge to hit a home run at plus 112. Kohanowitz is on the mound. He gets crushed. 92 mile per hour average exit velocity. That is in the bottom 2% of pitchers across Major League Baseball. Half of the balls that are hit against him are hard hit baseballs. Also amongst the worst percentage amongst pitchers in the league. You know the Yankees have gone 29 scoreless innings in a row consecutive here.
Really? I mean, obviously they're coming off the sweep against Boston, but
they have been
that's crazy.
Shut out for 29 consecutive innings. In the first inning today, that streak ends. Aaron Judge is hitting a home run off Jack Kohanowitz. Struggle with these names, man. And he's going to end that streak, and he's going to win us some money. You know, it's been 5 days since Aaron Judge has home runned. That's too long.
Home runned.
Homered. If he doesn't hit one today, we might have to double down on this on Thursday or Friday.
Wow. You're starting a new double down trend.
Yeah.
It's already bad. This already is missing now.
I don't know.
The second you uttered those words.
First inning today, I think Aaron Judge takes care of business here.
But he can do it whenever.
He can do it whenever, as long as it happens today. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't mind this because he's been in a slump, so he's like kind of due. But man, plus 112 for a guy to hit a home run?
It's because they know this pitcher gives up the long ball too often, gives up the hard hit balls too often. Now, this pitcher does give a lot of...
Your picks this week, not saying they've been bad.
They're
just like the riskiest picks ever.
What do you mean the riskiest? They're just unique.
Ohtani with a huge question mark on the weirdest K line you've ever seen.
Over under 1.5.
And then McKinstry just to get a single. A homer, double, triple. No, it's got to be a single.
Did you not like my logic behind the single?
I'm not doubting the picks.
Hold on.
They're risky.
Let me explain the McKinstry one, because I don't think it was risky at all. The guy on the mound last night for Pittsburgh was a left-handed pitcher who has worse splits against left-handed hitting. McKinstry is a left-handed hitter who has better splits against left-handed pitching. The pitcher on the mound, who's worse against lefties, even though he is a lefty, barely had his slugging percentage against lefties was tiny, but the average was about 300. So he had given up a lot of bloop singles and just regular, like nothing hard hit.
The bloop single for McKinstry nearly turned into a double.
But it wasn't.
Which was the funniest part.
But it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm fighting a losing battle here because it hit, so I'll just shut up.
So when Aaron Judge hits a home run today, and you start, are you going to come on tomorrow and be like, oh, all these risky picks?
Yes, I am. They are risky. The fact that you're not admitting that's crazy.
What do you want me to bet?
To hit a home
money
run?
Line? You want me to bet a run line?
You're right. You're being unique. I'll give you that.
I don't like betting run lines in baseball. Too random. This stuff, no.
Right.
Aaron Judge is hitting a home run today.
man.
Correct. Now you get it, Kyle. We're all different. All right, that's our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Other tradition. Kyle, I'll let you take the lead because you're kicking my butt right now.
That scoreboard if you're on YouTube.
2 straight dubs?
3-2. Back to back.
2 straight wins for the Sandman over here in predicting Colin Cowherd's Open.
Yes. Some are actually calling me Kyle Cowherd. I don't know where that came from, but
what'd you hit with yesterday? You guessed.
Caitlin Clark was Monday. Yesterday was the Thunder are winning. This series is over.
Okay, I might go back to the well on what you predicted yesterday. I think it's going to be WNBA Caitlin Clark conversations to open up Colin's show again. Back-to-back days.
Agreed. This would have been my pick.
But I have the first pick today. We alternate.
You do.
And I don't know, other than that, I don't know what he opens with.
There's nothing else going on. That's what makes today tough.
Well, the Panthers won a Stanley Cup, but he's not opening up with that.
No way he's opening. Would he do the McDavid thing that we kind of talked about?
No. I don't think so. Not to open up his show.
Here's where I'll go. It's delayed. I don't like this pick because I would have went Caitlin Clark. I think today's the day he talks about Rafi Devers and the Red Sox. Because
the press conference?
Devers last night had like an RBI double or something. So he's going to be like, oh, did you see Rafi Devers in a Giants uniform? And then kind of rip into the Red Sox a little bit.
How confident are you in this pick?
Not high, like a 3.
Yeah.
What else is there to pick?
I don't know.
There's zero NFL news. Does he just go back to the well and Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, TJ Watt needs an extension now. Trade him.
JJ McCarthy, like his classic picks.
He does love talking about JJ McCarthy.
I'll go Devers.
It could be
I don't love
back
it.
to the finals. It could be Thunder.
The finals aren't even on tonight or last night.
That doesn't stop. I don't know if that would be the reason to stop him. But I feel pretty good about this Caitlin Clark thing. I feel like going into tomorrow, the scores are going to be 3-3.
I would agree. It could just be another NBA thing, like a KD, maybe a Lakers thing, just something random.
Yeah, LeBron's sitting at home
I'm not getting
watching these finals.
I know that.
Something like that. Okay. Yeah, because Fever getting a little bit of a fight yesterday, so that's kind of still stirring the airwaves today. I think that's going to be the direction Colin Cowherd takes to open up the show. We'll keep everyone updated. If you're listening here in the Great Lakes Bay region, hopefully you play along with us and try to guess the one and only Colin Cowherd's open to his show that starts at noon today. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again to the Ben Bosscher Show. This was a fun show. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back on Friday. Honestly, I was thinking about it. I don't think I'm going to take an off day for at least their football season. So I can all but promise you, unless I die, at 9 o'clock, I will be here every day for the next, foreseeable future. Talking about the teams you guys all care about the most. Tarek Skubal on the mound today. Hope everyone enjoys that. Always a fun experience to watch that demon go on the mound in Comerica Park. We missed the Skubal Skeens start by one day because Skeens is on the mound for tomorrow. Interesting. All right, everyone. That was the Ben Bosscher Show. Hope it was worth it. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Stay dry. Peace.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on